Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Copyright disclaimer. This content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles does not intend to make use of any material for the purpose of harvesting gain. However, Title 17 of United States copyright law states material and use can only be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of copyright law.
Hello, everyone.
Across the block, Kaheb, Belajah, where I get my chala. Who reporting live from the universe? It's the First Nations MC. You could do the search. Who been through the worst? Surviving genocide, fighting for a better life. They try to set aside the true history and keep us mystical. They say they founded this country on biblical principles. It's so cynical, but I'm an analyst. It's murderous. They refer to us as merciless. Indian savages. Now that's written in the Declaration of Independence. That's no kidding. Hey, open up your heart and let love lead the way. Light your path with the words that I speak today. Let the lessons flow, arrive and bless your soul. Systematic racism alive, intentional. Know better, do better, it's the motto. It's the good medicine, the hard pill to swallow. Know better, do better, it's the motto. It's the good medicine, the hard pill to swallow.
His daily life was filled with ceremony, and every act had some significance. The Indians believed in the spiritual, the mysterious.
Te lo mereces, así que alza esa cerveza.
mar los vieron llegar. Mis hermanos emplumados serán los hombres barbados de la profecía esperada. Se oyó la voz del monarca de que el Dios había llegado y les abrimos la puerta por temor a lo ignorado. Iban montados en bestias como demonios del mal, iban con fuego en las manos y cubiertos de metal. Solo el valor de unos cuantos les opuso resistencia, y al mirar correr la sangre se llenaron de vergüenza, porque los dioses ni comen ni gozan con lo robado. Y cuando nos dimos cuenta, ya todo estaba acabado, y en ese error entregamos la grandeza del pasado, y en ese error nos quedamos 300 años esclavos. Se nos quedó el maleficio de brindar al extranjero nuestra fe, nuestra cultura, nuestro pan, nuestro dinero, y le seguimos cambiando oro por cuentas de vidrio, y damos nuestras riquezas por sus espejos con brillo. Siglo XX nos siguen llegando rubios y les abrimos la casa y los llamamos amigos. Pero si llega cansado un indio de andar la sierra, lo humillamos y lo vemos como extraño por su tierra. Que te muestras humilde ante el extranjero, pero te vuelves soberbio con tus hermanos del pueblo. Oh, maldición de Malinche, enfermedad del presente, ¿cuándo dejarás mi tierra? ¿Cuándo harás libre a mi gente?
El autor viene a decirnos con mucha firmeza y gran convencimiento lo mismo que nos decía en el siglo XVIII el barón de Holbach, ¿no? Un filósofo francés de origen alemán. Si nos remontamos al comienzo, entonces hallaremos que la ignorancia y el temor crearon a los dioses. La fantasía, el entusiasmo o el engaño los adornaron o desfiguraron. La debilidad les rinde culto, la credulidad los conserva, la costumbre los respeta y la tiranía los apoya, para que la ceguera de los hombres sirva a sus propios intereses.
All right, man. I think it works. I think it works. Pretty good stuff. Yeah, I think this is it. Trying to get used to the buttons, family. Wow, it's been a while. It's been a while. Um, Good evening. Good buenos dias, buenas noches, buenas tardes to everybody that's listening in, man. I appreciate you guys being here. It's been a while since I've had a live, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna lie, I've had a lot to do, and that had a lot to do with it. You know what I mean? So it is sometimes time consuming, man, to try to put together these courses, or like some of the brothers used to call it, or call it still, chicloso. Used to call it a show. Anyways, good to be back. So I got something important for you guys. As you can see, what I call the actual session, so to speak. All right, and we're gonna go into Mega Mind Kampf. I'm gonna give you guys some angles. Let's see if you can see what I see, and you make your decision. Again, people want to call this a show, so-called educational. Well, so be it. But I'm gonna be informative at the same time. So, anyways, good to have you here, bro. Europeans will never be American. Dan Bo, what up, bro? Nimitla Sotla, I believe. Good to have you here. I think I see your name right, or I might have done it wrong. My bad. Anyways, good for you guys to be here. So I want to show you this real quick. Let's start off with this, man. Let's get this session going. Let's get this session going. Okay, so check this out, family. This is something I found interesting, and this is from ecclesio.com. Okay, so it's called Christian Zionism and the Myth of Manifest Destiny. Now, you guys can go ahead and read this whole article. Matter of fact, I'll put the link up here on the post just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so let me read here from the top, and then I'm going to skip a couple paragraphs, and then get to the important part. It says America, in part, owes its national identity to the prevalence of powerful myths that arose out of its early history. Many of these myths are attached to founding fathers, right? En colmillas. Others to the occupation of the land by the European settlers and their experience of a nation's building. Okay? Perhaps the most powerful myth is that which developed out of the frontier experience of an emerging nation. So remember, keep in mind what this means right here. In case you guys don't know, let's look it up, man. It's important that you guys need to know what words mean. Myth, believe it or not, some people don't know. A usually traditional story of ostensibly historical events that serve to unfold part of the worldview of people or explain a practice, belief, natural phenomenon, parable, allegory. Meaning it's just like an assumption of something, right? Somebody made it up, maybe it became true, maybe not. Then it says manifest destiny. Remember, I mentioned this in this channel several times. Manifest destiny is how historians label it. Now, a lot of us look at this and maybe you don't pay a lot of attention to it, but you got to see what it says, manifest destiny. In case you guys don't know this, there's this big movement of, thought creates things, so-called that you are your own creator. You can manifest your future. Prosperity in a sense. So if you think you're going to own a car of this style, that's going to happen because you put your mind to it. This is also part of that, man. We're talking about masonry. This is deep, and you guys know that I touch on these subjects. So let me continue before I go on to another, avenue here. Manifest destiny is how historians label it. The belief that the settlements and taming. I want you to understand what that just said. Taming. Do you understand that? When do you use that word? Or at least let me rephrase that. How do you use that word? Or onto what type of object or entity do you use that word? Tame. You don't tell a human that you tame them. You tell an animal that you tame them. That's typically the way that word is used. But let me back forward here. The belief that the settlement and taming of this vast, largely uninhabited, you hear this, land by European colonists was a divinely destined event. You telling me that for real? So then it says here, this is the basic outline of the myth. A brave, pioneering people escaping from religious and political oppression and persecution in Europe meet great obstacles and realizing the dreams of a free land for free people in an untamed wilderness. Do you understand what that's saying to people like you and I? That we were savages. So let me continue with that thought here, because it actually says that. Among these obstacles are savage natives who use terrorist tactics to thwart their designs. Now, I didn't have this in mind, but I kind of find it very interesting here. I'm going to get to this point here. Hold on a second. Let me get to this point here because I got this video, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's pretty crazy. You know what I'm saying? And it talks about it actually shows this here. And I'm gonna play it this way. So here, you'll see the natives hit these Spaniards, right? So check out what happens here. All right, so for the sake of not being blocked from my own video here that I posted, let me skip it forward. So now we see these natives helping who? Our people, the sisters, the sons and daughters becoming free, trying to help them free, right? Let's go. Become free. All right, so now we see dogs. You see, this is why I wanted to show this to you. Because when you read this material and you get a chance to see it, it doesn't ever go away. You know what it's about when you're reading these things. It's not just a sentence anymore. I was talking to my wife the other day. I said, I wish I didn't know this in some cases because it gets in the way of things sometimes. Let's continue this. Well, I'm going to skip ahead here real quick. Now we're going to see a little more aggressiveness, right? So we see our brethren free and our people. So now guess what happens? And this is kind of where my point was leading to, because in these sentences that we're reading about, right, in these untamed wildernesses, so-called, among these obstacles are savage who use terrorist tactics to thwart their design. Do you see what I'm saying? You telling me that this one of our elderly sisters, she was a fucking terrorist? You know what I'm saying, bro? When I know that they use dogs on our people, fed them, literally. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never had to sit there and wait for something to eat me. You know what I mean? I can't imagine sitting there knowing you cannot move So when you read these things here, savages, really, obstacles, these myths that they use, that they still speak from, these myths are a trampoline to these people still. And I'm going to show you. So don't be fooled that this is what the thought was and still is, and I'm going to show you how. Among these obstacles are savage natives who, okay, sorry, excuse me. Then it says, with God's help, the brave settlers defeat the savages once again, allowing for cultivation and taming of a land that was largely undeveloped by more primitive people. Primitive. Let this sink in here. What do we got? Relating to denoting or preserving the character of an early stage in the evolutionary or historical development. Primitive mammal, meaning like, very low totem pole. No brain. Peoples who inhabited it. Now, here's where they're basically explaining the other story. This myth was long ago debunked as revisionist scholarship highlighted the brutality of this early form of ethnic cleansing. Now, but the myth elements of the narrative, heroic pioneers escaping persecution to give birth to liberty and justice for all, you see the bullshit? With God's blessing, of course, God loves America, you know that, continues to incubate American self-identity. And that's my point. And that's my point right here. So let me show you these videos here real quick, because I always want to remind ourselves some of the things that we may somehow forget. Let me see if I can log into this.
Descubrir lo que ya está ocupado. En 1492 llegó a un continente donde vivían 60 millones de personas, pero en solo 8 años, el 90% de los taínos desaparecieron. ¿Cómo ocurrió? Trabajos forzados, hambre y enfermedades. A quienes se resistían los castigaban de forma brutal. Incluso utilizó perros entrenados para perseguirlos. Pero hay algo aún peor. En su diario escribió: regalé a mis hombres niñas de 9 años. Son dóciles como burros. La explotación y la violencia marcaron su descubrimiento. Cientos de miles de muertos, millones sometidos. Esto no es un héroe, es una tragedia histórica. Entonces, ¿por qué seguimos celebrándolo? Porque los imperios borran sus crímenes, pero la verdad siempre encuentra la manera de salir a la luz.
You see that? So that's why you don't hear about these things. That's why you don't hear about these things. When was the last time that at least the information that I've been bringing out since, for a while, 2022, I guess, there's been brothers bringing out longer than me, but I think I've been a little bit more detailed, so to say, and Spanish and English blending it in. Anyhow, the point being is I did not know 85, actually, no, I lie. I did not know 95% of the shit I know now. I did not know that we went on ships. I did not know that we were taken all over the world. I did not know that we were the ones in slavery. I did not know that a lot of this history really pertained to us. And I definitely did not know that all the curses of what this Bible says really applies to us, because we fit all the damn curses of Deuteronomy 28. There's not one that we don't miss. Let's continue.
Tainos in the Caribbean, 33 million Incas in South America, 30 million Aztecs in Mexico, and 7 million Apache, Comanche, and Navajo in the West, for a grand total of 73 million people. Until the great extermination. And then, 95% of us vanished off the face of the fucking earth. All right, how many is that left? Sir, you look very intelligent. What is it? No, you were going to say 5%. Anybody can say 5%. That's one demerit. Let's not get to 3, otherwise you're going to have to get out of my class. Ushers, ojo.
Now, there was a part there where I kind of wondered, did they laugh? Or did they kind of like, oh, whoa. I don't know if you guys caught that. And that's pretty heavy. When you talk about all of our native indigenous brethren here in this land, when this occurred, because this shit was real. And nobody can deny it. Now, you're going to have, as we've had, as I showed you in this channel before, other nations claiming that they are the people. But it's so easy to slice. There's no reason to even waste time. Like, literally, we got a mission here. So let's continue.
That's 3.65 million Indians left. And this genocide really fucked me up, man. Why, John, you ask? Thank you for asking. Because, I've always had these anger issues, man. But now I know why, because of some unconscious conquest. 3 million.
Well, he says that, but I thought his parents were, thought he came from the other side. I understand he's waking up, supposedly, but you know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, in this channel, man, you guys know that I always bring this out. I always do. Now, in this book, it says something very important here. Genesis 4:7 says, if thou doest well, shall thou not be accepted. Here is a conversation between Cain and the Most High. And if thou shalt not do it well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire. Well, one of the spirits, I should say that, not the Most High. One of the spirits of the Most High. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. So now check this out. So what does this guy do? And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. Now, he just had a conversation with something more powerful than him, something more righteous than him. And he knew that. And he just had a talk with that entity, so to speak, for lack of better words. And what did he do right after? And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. Sit with disregard, without care. He just had a conversation with a righteous entity, so to speak, for lack of better words. And then he decided right after, let me trick my brother and kill him. There's only 2 types of people in this world, family. There's good and bad. There's no in between. It's like you're either pregnant or you're not. You're not half-ass pregnant. My dad used to tell me that shit all the time. Well, not all the time, but he used to say that. He would tell me that. There's no half-ass shit. Now, the reason why I bring those cases up and how he's talking about the 95% deduction and everything. Well, here, this is one thing, one article or chapter, I should say, of a book, and I couldn't find it, so I did my best, but here's what I got. This is seeing Indios in the 16th century Castile. Seeing Indios in 16th century Castile. I want to read this paragraph to you because you have to understand how thorough, and I should say how I don't want to say deep, how far, how vast our history really is. Over the course of the 16th century, more than 2,000 people, listen, categorized as Indios, traveled to Castile. A handful dressed in colorful regalia, wearing feather garments and wearing weapons, parade before the royal officials, or posed for curious artists. Others came in entourage of indigenous elites who sought diplomatic or political favors, retribution for their subjects, or titles and privileges from the king. Europeans returning from Indies share their ethnographic observations about the Indios and displayed artifacts from America that steer the culture imagination of royal authorities and others. Now, you telling me that if these people that were here just for the sake of Wobble-ism, you telling me that they wouldn't have noticed and said that, hey, these guys look African looking? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not just a secular world here. We're talking about a fucking earth here. History doesn't just end here and start here. It's like literally it has to match across the other side of the world, and it doesn't match. Anyways, I digress. If the Castilian royal court was a site where different visuals and living representation of Indios from around the globe converged. You see this? And living representations of Indios from around the globe converged. You see this? You see these words? Around the globe. How did the Castilian in villages and cities grapple with the ethnographic observation of returning travelers? The image of feathered men and women, or the incredible tales they heard about so-called brutish people? So now he's talking about, now when you get into, actually, let me skip that. Hold on. Let me see what I'm trying to read. I'm trying to get to the point where it's actually showing. Okay, here it goes. The majority of the Indios who appeared in Castile did not carry spears or adorn their bodies with feathers. They were children and adult slaves. You see this? Adult slaves and freed people who wore tattered garments and performed grueling labor daily in homes, shops, and fields of Castilian villages and cities. They did not journey to Spain as part of the diplomatic entourage. You see what I'm saying? Now, this should not be something that you and I or any of our brethren should be overlooking, because this is right in your fucking face. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what you guys got. What's up, Ron Garcia? Cuba Raza, just tapping in. All good, bro. Good to have you here, man. All due respect, but you're not a Hebrew from the land of Israel and Jewish Hebrew or back to Israel. Oh, well, if you don't believe that, that's good to hear, bro. I'm not going to argue with you about it, because what I've learned in this channel, that no matter what I say, no matter what I prove, if you come with an agenda and you're already set in your mind before you even know who the fuck I am, you're already set on your way. So it ain't no convincing. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a fact. That's what I realized in this channel. But let's continue. Let me go check this out real quick. I'm going to show you guys this something. I wanted to remind you all, because in case you don't know this, man, there's books written about our people here. Look, this is a book called Decreto de Napoleon. In this book here, I would ask you take a picture of it. In this book here, it's his conversation of what he knows of the people in this land over here. It's in Spanish, obviously. I'll read a little bit here, just para que vean, güey. It says, los más de los autores convienen que los habitantes que se hallaron en el nuevo continente son descendientes de judíos, y a quienes prueban parecerse mucho a el traje, condición, costumbres y algunas ceremonias y vocablos que los imitan, y que los primeros serían de aquellas 10 tribus que en el tiempo de Oseas de Israel cautivó Salmaneser. You guys know that story. He's talking about Esdras, 2nd Esdras 13. Now, again, this is a book. You guys can look for it. It's hard to find. It took me a while to find this book. Decreto de Napoleon. So, regardless of what we say here or do here, it don't matter what you don't believe or what you believe, man. You're going to live your life the way you're going to live your life. I'm not here to convince it. It's either you listen, you hear, or you don't. And that's it. It's very simple. Because what I will tell you is that you probably believe in aliens and shit, or maybe white Jesus, and you probably think that if you believe in Christianity, that Jesus is God, and that's not true. Yet I show you some history, right? You say you tap it in, but you didn't tap in. You just wanted to make a statement. It's amazing that even though we show, because I'm not the only one doing this. Look at this here. Deuteronomy 28:68. A brother and I were talking about this the other day. That's the book out there called Global Indios as well. I've showed this book to you guys before. Here it actually talks about that he would be sending the Israelites back into so-called bondage. Here in Deuteronomy 4:27, it says, "And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left you in numbers among the heathen, but the Lord shall lead you." I mean, I guess. Now, I do know this for a fact, that some things you can deny, some things you cannot deny, because we have documentation that it's true. So let me show you something. It says here in Jewish paper 1861, page 64, the spirit of Freemasonry is the spirit of Judaism in its more fundamental belief. It is its ideas, its language. It is mostly its organization. So, this is what I don't believe. You see what I'm saying? So there's a type of people out there that are claiming to be something that they're not. But it's sometimes certain people that fail to study and go by the assumption and want to tell you who you are. Freemasonry and Judaism, a comprehensive history of shared values, challenges, and contributions. Freemasonry and Judaism, which, as you guys know from this channel, I've done several classes on this topic. Now we're connecting them as one. Remember, I mentioned Druidism as well. All of those things occurred there. So let's continue. Two district traditions with rich history has intersected its fascinating ways throughout these centuries. This article explores the complex relationship between these two groups, their shared values, common challenges, the significant contribution of Jewish Freemasons to society, particularly in the U.S. Come on now. The Enlightenment and religious reform. The Renaissance means, to rebirth. Enlightenment means like the light. These guys, their God is Lucifer. I'm going to tell you that right now. There's a lot of let me see. What class was that I did? I think it was called, it was like 7-8 months ago. I did several classes on this thing. You guys could go check it out. They're really good, I think. Anyways, the Enlightenment and religious reform. The Age of Enlightenment played a crucial role in the shape and relationship between Freemasonry and Judaism. You see, the Age of Enlightenment. Now, when did this occur? That happened in the 17th century. 1600. See what I'm saying? That's the Age of Enlightenment. Oh, my bad. What did I do with it? What did I do with it? So the Enlightenment concepts of university brought about a society where religious belief did not affect citizen rights, so supposedly. But you guys see the similarity. It's not a joke. Not a joke. I've been telling you guys this for quite some time. Now we're just kind of connecting the rest of the dots. Let me see if I can show this real quick. There's go.
You have the Jewish Star of David, because in fact, Freemasonry is Jewish. Freemasonry has always known that its greatest enemy in Western civilization is Rome. And that's why there has always been this animosity between the Catholic Church and Judaism. There has always been this animosity between the Catholic Church and Judaism. The Jews were persecuted in the old country.
So let me guess, Ron, should I be a Christian instead? Would that be better for you, Ron? Should I rather be a Christian? Would that be more acceptable for you?
In Europe, and there still remains that animosity between Judaism and the Catholic movement today, but not because of religion, but because of the secret societies that operate behind both of those organizations. The Pope's headdress, the papal headdress, goes back to an ancient Jewish headdress. And of course, the Pope wears the yarmulke, and so does the cardinals wear the yarmulke. But in particular, the Pope's headdress is shown here as Freemasonic. This is from a Freemasonic research book, a volume on Freemasonry and the garb of Freemasons. We see what's happening in South Africa. It is no great wonder that South Africa's greatest friend is Israel. On the Book of Teachings of Freemasonry, you have the Jewish Star of David, because in fact, Freemasonry is Jewish. Freemasonry has always known that its greatest enemy in Western civilization is Rome.
Now, some of you guys that are new have no clue why I'm bringing this up. But you brothers and sisters that have been following for a while, whether you see it live now or later, you know what this refers to. I did a class on this as well. Judaism, Masonry. Man, it was like a year and a half ago. Now, this is all going to connect. Just follow me here. Walk with me. I'm going to show you some stuff real quick. Let's continue.
Symbols of the ancient Druidic religion, the ancient Druids, was the magic wand. Merlin the magician with his magic wand. Remember Mickey Mouse with his magic wand? Magic wands were always made out of the wood of a holly tree. It was made out of Hollywood. They're still doing their magic in Hollywood, and we don't even understand what the word means. Hollywood is the wood of a holly tree. Holly is important to the Celtic Druids at Christmas time. Hollywood. The magic of Hollywood. It's Druidic, Jewish, Masonic symbolism. And then you begin to understand why MGM, finally it begins to dawn on you, why MGM has the roaring lion. That's right, the roaring lion is the sun in the constellation that begins summer. Summer begins in Leo, the constellation of Leo, the lion of the tribe of Judah. The Lion King. He is king over the northern hemisphere and over the earth and over Europe. And the first day of summer, which is in the constellation of Leo, he's the Lion King. They still make movies about it. One of the most important symbols of the ancient Druidic.
So, as you can see, this Kabbalah, Sepharad, Talmudic, esoteric doctrine, teaching, or religion, or whatever that is, has been going on, and it's still going on, and it has a lot to do with the reason why they're here. You see, while I'm trying to show you guys something, we have Ron here trying to teach something. I do respect, brother, but our brown people in the land we know, America, were never called Indians that came from whites. The real Indian people came from the land of India. Well, I find that very interesting because I don't think back in that time they even called it India. To be quite frank with you, you should Google it. I'm not going to sit here and argue about some stupidity, because here you go. The real Indian people came from India. Like, what is your point? If you don't agree, then fucking move on. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's begging you to believe anything. What I'm doing in this channel, presenting information, showing the brothers and sisters that understand where I come from, have followed, or at least have took time to listen to who I am, and then, you know what I mean, made a comment. But no, you are the typical, how can I say it respectfully? Since you said with all due respect, or all due respect, I should say immature. You see, in the scriptures here, I'll show you real quick. And I think it's Sirach 11:7, if I'm not mistaken. It says, blame not before thou hast examined the truth. Understand first and then rebuke. I think that's self-explanatory. It means listen first. Look at what you see, you know, sit back for a moment, meditate on what your mind is going to start. The first of all is your perceptions, because those are the things that I bet you have no idea that you have in your mind. And it says take your time about before going to judge. But nah, you jumped on it quickly, man. So with all due respect, be more mature about things, because it's not going to get you nowhere. Immaturity is not going to get you nowhere. Let's listen to this again. I mean, not again, this other part.
Is connected to the goat god. The Star of David is actually a hexagram, which was the original astronomical symbol for the planet Saturn. Saturn was always pictured in the ancient astronomical text during the Middle Ages and the medieval times as a Star of David, six-pointed star, two triangles interposed. The Babylonians would draw a triangle on the ground and then draw an opposing triangle, making the six-pointed star or hexagram, then draw a circle around that hexagram and stand inside of it. Now you're inside the magic circle, putting the hex on someone. So that's where we get the word putting the hex on you, is because the six-pointed star is a hex. So today we have Jews going around the world proud to show you that they've got the hex put on them. The Phoenician language, Saturn is spelled Shabbath. Shabbath in the Phoenician language is Saturn.
That's why I don't say Sabbath anymore. I say seventh day. That's why. Anyway, let's continue.
Worship of the goat god connected to the planet Saturn. That's why the Hebrews have their holy days or Sabbath on sundown Friday night to sundown Saturday night, because that's Saturn, or Saturn's day, or Saturday. You see the
Tell you what, Ron, you say, do you know where we come from? I'll bet you don't know where we come from. I know you're going to tell me some scientific shit. So where do you think? I'll explain it to you. I will. But see, my explanations are not short. They're not long-winded either, but there's history to it. So let me know where do you think we come from? Like we're like mushrooms from the Americas? We don't come from nowhere else? While you're thinking of that, let me continue with the session here. Now, why is this important to see and to you know to remind ourselves with? Well, check this out: the essential secrets of Masonry. Insight from an American Masonic orientation of 1737. Freemasonry is driven by heritage. Our craft looks to various parts to determine its identity in the present. To sacred history throughout the volume of sacred laws, to the mythopoetic past of the so-called traditional history, and to our organizational history is traced through the regular Masonic institutions and their leaders. Let me show you this real quick. Where is this that I wasn't seeing? Let me see. Did I write it down? Please tell me I did. Is that the one? Forgive me, family. I might have to skip this particular link here because I don't see the highlighted parts anymore. And I think it erased them. It did, and I didn't put them on my notes. So let me read this. This looks somewhat familiar. No, I remember seeing this part. And I remember seeing this from here. Let me read this real quick if you don't mind. All right. It is possible that the public more simply intended to imply that the address was spoken to the assembled brethren. Even so, it is doubtful that it was the first Masonic oration ever given on the American continent. Orations were a typical feature of many lodges, and lodges did not have the speeches by the brethren elucidating Masonic topics were seen as lacking an important aspect of Freemasonry. Nah, that wasn't it. So let me move on because I thought it didn't save my stuff. So I'm not going to waste time on that. Here, let me see this real quick. Oh, here we go. That's it. That's what it was. See, man. All right. So the reason why I had that article was because it was leading.
Deja de estudiar inglés.
Right, it was leading into this. All right. So it was leading into this. It reminded me of like the stupidity of people is worse than wickedness of people. So I want this video to explain to us here what we're dealing with, because at the same time, the reason I showed you Freemasonry is because I need you to understand that all these elements that are moving like in circle right now, like and I'm sure you guys are paying attention to the politics that are going on, right? You know, whether it's Democrat or Republican, I'm sure you're seeing this. And all these mechanisms are moving so fucking fast. And all this information is happening so fast. And I need you guys to understand. I need you to understand that this is all like premeditated. Premeditated. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, look, check it out. Look, see, check it out. Look, I can't hear none of his bullshit. I'm out of here. Good. Hey, man, listen, bro. Gotcha, bitch. Nobody invited you. Matter of fact, nobody paid you to come here, Ron. You know what I mean? Who are you, Ron? I mean, I did ask you, like, where did we come from, and you got upset. Anyway, let's continue, man. Okay, matter of fact, you fit this description right here. Hey, what's up, Warakuya, man? Good to have you here, brother. Good to have you. So check this out. He fits this description right here. He actually does. So let's enjoy this for a moment. It's gonna go for like I speeded it up. It should go like 4 minutes. I'll probably break in, but I like this because this really tells us you have to understand like what we're dealing with. You have to know too that anyways, check this out.
Darkest chapter of German history, during a time when incited mobs threw stones into in the darkest chapter of German history, during a time when incited mobs threw stones into the windows of innocent shop owners, and women and children were cruelly humiliated in the open, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a young pastor, began to speak publicly against the atrocities that the regime had produced. After years of trying to change people's minds, Dietrich Bonhoeffer came home one evening and his own father had to tell him that 2 men were waiting in his room to take him away. In prison, Bonhoeffer began to reflect on how his country of poets and thinkers had turned into a collective of cowards, crooks, and criminals. Eventually, he concluded that the root of the problem was not malice, but stupidity.
You see what I mean? It wasn't malice. Like, malice can go so far. But then there's this stupidity that comes in. You know what I'm saying? The stupidity that comes in. Like this one right here. Look, so Ron says to me, you're not a man. You act like a little motherfucking kid. I don't know why you didn't, type it up. So I don't know what kid part do you think I'm acting like? And then the motherfucking part. Who am I effing? Though what I kind of wonder is like why you put little kids in MF. You put little kids in MF. Like, what are you thinking, bro? Do you know there's a scripture that says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So, Ron, right, like a little kid, bro, you need to really self-reflect. Stop thinking of little kids. Don't do that, man. You can get in trouble and go to jail for that shit. Repent now that you can. Let's continue.
In his famous Letters from Prison, Bonhoeffer argued that stupidity is a more dangerous enemy of the good than malice, because while one may protest against evil, it can be exposed and prevented by the use of force. Against stupidity, we are defenseless. Neither protests nor the use of force accomplish anything here. Reasons fall on deaf ears. Facts that contradict a stupid person's prejudgment simply need not be believed, and when they are irrefutable, they are just pushed aside as inconsequential, as incidental.
Many times have we run into that. Matter of fact, one of these examples is like today. I mean, I don't know if he's seen any of my videos before, but I think I've shown enough. Proven with facts and history and everything and shit. But, it's not enough. I think at that point, that's stupidity. It's not malice. It's just stupidity.
In all this, the stupid person is self-satisfied and, being easily irritated, becomes dangerous by going on the attack.
See what I mean? And he just did that. He literally did that. Let's go back a little bit. Like, you're not a man. You act like a little motherfucking kid. You know what I mean? First, he threw a softball on this one. He's like, bullshit. Yeah, and then he said, fuck you. I think I know your mind more than you know yourself. I already know the pattern of your thoughts. Because check this out. It aligns with this. Here's why.
Irritated becomes dangerous by going on the attack. As incidental. In all this, the stupid person is self-satisfied and, being easily irritated, becomes dangerous by going on the attack. For that reason, greater caution is called for when dealing with a stupid person than with a malicious one. If we want to know how to get the better of stupidity, we must seek to understand its nature. This much is certain. Stupidity is, in essence, not an intellectual defect, but a moral one.
Did you guys hear what he said? Stupidity is not an intellectual issue. Think about that for a moment. Stupidity has nothing to do with intellectual issues. Let me rewind that, because you're gonna see how this is so interesting, because this dude showed up just for that moment. I know, and by the way, it's been like maybe a month that I've done a class like officially live, because I'm live right now. It's been a month, and I already have round. So anyways, but it's a perfect time because it's a perfect moment of perfect stupidity.
On the attack. For that reason, greater caution is called for when dealing with a stupid person than with a malicious one. If we want to know how to get the better of stupidity, we must seek to understand its nature. This much is certain. Stupidity is, in essence, not an intellectual defect, but a moral one. There are human beings who are remarkably agile intellectually, yet stupid, and others who are intellectually dull, yet anything but stupid.
You see that? There's some that are very, intellectually there, but just, you know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with intellect. That's the sad part. The Bible talks about that that a particular type of people are born with a particular type of spirit, perpetually, through their generations. They're estranged from the womb. This has to do with it. Let's continue.
The impression one gains is not so much that stupidity is a congenital defect, but that under certain circumstances, people are made stupid, or rather, they allow this to happen to them. People who live in solitude manifest this defect less frequently than individuals in groups, and so it would seem that stupidity is perhaps less a psychological than a sociological problem. It becomes apparent that every strong upsurge of power, be it of a political or religious nature, infects a large part of humankind with stupidity.
Are we not seeing this now? But this is actually going on right now. Let's continue.
Just as if this is a sociological, psychological law.
Because I bet you Ron Garcia voted for Trump. Did you vote for Trump, Ron? I think you did. Let's continue.
Where the power of the one needs the stupidity of the other. The process at work here is not that particular human capacities such as intellect suddenly fail. Instead, it seems that under the overwhelming impact of rising power, humans are deprived of their inner independence and, more or less consciously, give up an autonomous position. The fact that the stupid person is often stubborn must not blind us from the fact that he is not independent.
See, this is one way you can determine stubbornness. So, and I guess I'm gonna use you, Ron. You didn't even give it like much time. You said something, then 4 minutes later you said this, and then after that you just went hard-headed, stubborn. Like it's like that's the pattern of the way that you think. You have an idea and you go with it, and it's worked for you with other people, and that's probably why you still are the way you are, even in its own simplest way on YouTube, which is a funny thing that if you're listening, you know damn well that I'm not wrong, because I can tell by the way your communication is. Sad part is that you're here for the message, and the sad part is that you don't want to listen to it.
In conversation with him, one virtually feels that one is dealing not at all with him as a person, but with slogans, catchwords, and the like that have taken possession of him. He is under a spell, blinded, misused, and is abused in his very being. Having thus become a mindless tool, the stupid person will also be capable of any evil, incapable of seeing that it is evil. Only an act of liberation, not instruction, can overcome stupidity. Here, we must come to terms with the fact that in most cases, a genuine internal liberation becomes possible only when external liberation has preceded it. Until then, we must abandon all attempts to convince the stupid person. Bonhoeffer died due to his involvement in a plot against Adolf Hitler at dawn on the 9th of April 1945 at Flossenbürg concentration camp, just 2 weeks before soldiers from the United States liberated the camp. Action springs not from thought, but from a readiness for responsibility. The ultimate test of a moral society is the kind of world that it leaves to its children, Bonhoeffer once.
You can go there and philosophize and all that shit, you know what I mean? But the fact is that stupidity can get you in a lot more trouble than anything else. That's why, you know what I mean? I've told people, man, I'd rather deal with Democrats than Republicans because Republicans are stupid. You know what I mean? Maybe Democrats have malice, but Republicans are stupid because they'll believe. Like, for example, we see Donald Trump. Like, we see the stupidity. Like, really, man? Now they're regretting it. It's like, check this out. Stupid theory about people, man. This is why. Look, I don't understand anymore. I mean, aren't they Europeans? Aren't they Europeans, bro?
Why is it easier to search
Hold on
the
a second. Here,
entire internet than your own stuff? Meet Dash.
Okay, we don't.
Look. The reason I'm showing is because I'm confused here. Fam. Help me out here. Aren't they both Europeans? This bitch ain't from the Americas. Her bloodline didn't come from our land here. You know what I'm saying? Or this man, I think she's a man, to be honest. I think he's a man. I mean, that's what I think, but whatever. And think about this. It tells this other person, and by the way, by me saying it, I'm not dissing anybody in particular. I'm actually making fun of her, to be honest with you, because she's dissing all people all the time. But anyway, let me just keep it real, because I don't want people to block my shit for some stupid comment I make. So she tells a European station news reporter to go back to her country. They're both white people. Listen to this. This is interesting.
Wait, what country are you from? The UK. Okay, we don't give a about your opinion and your reporting. Why don't you go back to your country where you have a major migrant problem? Okay, and you no. You should care about your own borders. Do you care about American lives? No. Let me tell you something. Do you care about people from your country? What about all the women that are raped by migrants?
Now, that's the problem that I have here. All of a sudden, migrants rape everybody. Last time I checked, it's white people that usually are the pedals of the rapists, or the people that eat the people. let's see, what's his name? Jeffrey Dahmer. Didn't eat people. He's white. Most, matter of fact, CIA, I believe, and FBI has determined, or FBI, I think, that the majority of serial killers, rapists, and pedos are white people. I mean, what you want me to tell you? Do you want to know what I think? Here's what I think. And I saw this video, man, and it caught my attention a lot because it's. I always wonder why the hell are you guys here? I found out why.
America is so obsessed with cruelty, religious extremism, and authoritarianism. It's not random, it's part of the blueprint. The first colonizers weren't escaping persecution, they were escaping accountability. Too extreme, too controlling, too hateful for even Europe. The Puritans exiled for being too authoritarian. The settlers convinced God wanted them to rule over others. The Confederates lost the Civil War but never let go of their obsession for power. For centuries, this country attracted the most violently religious, racist, and power-hungry people because they had nowhere else to go. And that mindset, it never left. It mutated. Now we're watching history repeat itself. The same forces dragging us backward, the same extremist roots twisting into something new. The real question isn't why this keeps happening. It's whether we can finally break the cycle or if we're watching an empire collapse.
The beauty of it, because as they are returning to their ways, we are also returning to our ways. And that's the beauty of it. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what we got. Let me go back here. Let me see. Let me stop here. Okay, let me start here. My bad. Ron Garcia, Indians were not called India until the British took over and named it India. It was called Hindustan. Yes, sir. They were never referred to as Indians before that. Let's see. Ron Garcia, those people in Israel are not original Jews. Look up the Balfour Declaration 17. Yep, that's for sure. That is for shizo. Jeffrey Dahmer was a cherry Murray. Yo, he ate people, man. That shit was. Hey, you know what's so funny? I grew up liking detective investigation shit, specifically like for murder, and serial killers like them. I don't know, man. I was kind of interested in the investigative process. You know what I'm saying? To like catch them. Not that I was interested in doing that shit. But I found it so fucking weird and yet at the same time fascinating how these people thought just in a different realm. Like, think about it. When you smell dead skin, dead meat, like rotten meat, you guys have smelled rotten meat. I can't handle that smell. I throw up on that. Like, bloop, like bloop. These people don't, bro. Like, they fucking enjoy it. It's like pigs, like swine. You guys remember the scripture? Matter of fact, I'm gonna show you. Think about this. This is very interesting, man, because it talks about uncleanness. I think it's Mark 5 right here. Watch right here real quick. All right, so here's what we see. The Meshiach, he's healing a man that has demons, right? So check this out. Then it says Mark 5:5. It says, and always night and day he was in the mountains and in the tombs crying and cutting himself with stones. But when he saw the Meshiach afar, he ran and worshipped him. Now it says, and cried with a loud voice and said, what have I to do with the Meshiach, thou son of the Most High? I adjure thee, thou son of the Most High. See, there goes for you guys that are listening in secret. Jesus is not God. Fudge, man. Come on, stop. Anyways, I adjure thee by God that thou torment me not. Then it says here, for he said unto him, come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. And he asked him, what is thy name? And he answered, saying, my name is Legion, for we are many. And he besought him much that he would not send him away out of the country. Now they were there nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine, feeding. And all the devils besought him, saying, send us into the swine, that we may enter into them. And forthwith Mashiach gave them leave, and the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine. Is the swine an unclean meat? Yes, it is. So you see how it works? You see how it functions? You see why no matter what you say, whether you have this information in your hand, like it's very clear that what is it at? Where is it at? I think it's 1 Corinthians 13, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. 14. Here, hold on. Let me look for it. Hold on. Let me see. I'm trying to Google prophet for a moment here. Give me a second. Here, 2 Corinthians 11:14. The reason why I'm saying this is because even this spirit knows this book. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed into as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. So these guys can come in and try to teach you guys to keep the commandments. Didn't we just see Sakari and his leader go and get thou shalt not get pegged or whatever he's doing? I mean, I can go into that class, but I don't really want to waste my time on it. For a moment, I thought, yeah, let's do it. But then I'm like, maybe I will. I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't think it serves my time. The point being is that even Satan knows the word. Be mindful. Let's continue with this real quick. We're almost done because I don't have a lot to share right now.
I think I'm a good.
This is funny. I figured I'll show it to y'all. Check this out.
Person. Look, I'm Christian, evangelist, and I stand with Israel. You're stupid. There, diagnosed. Next. Why? Let me see if I understand. It's because God chosen people, right? Yes. So, you're telling me that God is unfair and racist and agrees with ethnic cleansing. Basically like a tribal God. A partial God that favors some people above others. Are you sure you're talking about God? Oh, that's blasphemy. Blasphemy? Are you sure? Because you're the one who's speaking about the God who discriminates. A God who allows those so-called chosen people to butcher, to create a genocide, and to steal land. Are you even sure you're a Christian? And you know the rules of Christianity. You know, don't steal, don't kill. There are 10 rules. Yeah, but the Holocaust and 6 million people and the biggest tragedy? Let me guess, the next phrase is gonna be you're anti-Semitic. To Eastern Europeans who think they're from the land, isn't it? Actually, the Holocaust was a tragedy, but by far not the biggest. Dear Christian, do you know about the 20 million Christians, or more actually, that were butchered in concentration camps by the Bolsheviks? So, what kind of Christian you are?
The Bolsheviks were Jews, by the way. Look it up.
Oh, but Bolsheviks? Nothing to do with Israel. Well, actually, the administration of the Bolsheviks, 427 out of 525, they were Jewish. You know, the ones in power, the elected ones from the Bolsheviks, they were Jewish. So, what shall we do, the Christians, after more than 20 million Christians butchered? Yeah, because they were Christians. Shall we do our own land? No? In the name of God? I'm asking you, Christian, this is what religion is about?
I wanted to share that with you guys because I think we showed these scriptures before, and there's how can I say this? Where are you at? Did I not write it? Yeah, I wrote it down. My bad, family. Okay, here goes. Let me just read it real quick. Psalms 50:16. It says here, "But unto the wicked God saith, What hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth." So let me simplify it so you can see it. Psalms 50:17. You refuse to let me correct you. You reject my commands. You become the friend of every thief you see, and you associate with adulterers. You are always ready to speak evil. You never hesitate to tell lies. Now, check this out. Let's go back to it. We'll start at 16. It says, "But unto the wicked God saith, What hast thou to do to declare my statutes? And thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth." So remember, he gave only laws, statutes, and commandments to certain people. So now he's telling certain other people, what are you doing with them? Because the way that they are, seeing thou hated instructions and casteth my words behind thee, meaning they're selective with the word of the Most High. You say, I like this one. Shh, I don't like that one. I like this one. Shh, I don't like that one. So you cast it behind you. So what else? What are some of these things that we see, and sometimes we don't understand? I'll give you an example of one of them. These guys are supposedly Christians, right?
Mike, I've never called for lava to rain down from the heavens, but maybe upon Washington, D.C. Would you be that sweet red hot lava for us?
I've never been called sweet, and you call me Sweet Ginger, so I think I'm in, Ben. During my 3-week reign of terror as Trump acting attorney general, before I get chased out of town with my Trump pardon, I will rain hell on Washington, D.C. We've talked about this, Ben. I have 5 lists ready to go, and they're growing. List number 1, we're going to fire. We're going to fire a lot of people in the executive branch and the deep state. Number 2, we're going to indict. We're going to indict Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and James Biden and every other scumball, sleazeball Biden, except for the 5-year-old granddaughter who they refused to acknowledge for 5 years until the political pressure got to Joe Biden. Number 3, we're going to deport. We're going to deport a lot of people, 10 million people and growing, anchor babies, their parents, their grandparents. We're going to put kids in cages. It's going to be glorious.
Kids in cages is going to be glorious. That's Ron wants me to be Christian like that.
We're going to detain a lot of people in the DC Gulag and Gitmo. And list number 5, I'm going to recommend a lot of pardons. Every January 6th defendant is going to get a pardon, especially my hero, Hornman. He is definitely at the top of the pardon list.
We actually went out and have some upcoming content with Jacob Chansley. We did a podcast interview with him. Went out into the desert. We wanted to learn about shamanism, so we went out into the desert with him. We'll be releasing that video pretty soon, actually, and I think you'll like it quite a bit, Mike.
By the way, they never did. They probably did some funky shit over there, and that's probably why. So let me continue with this, man, because I really, really laugh at the hypocrisy. These guys are supposedly Christians.
The fact is that
they're supposedly Christians. You know, supposedly believe in Jesus, the white one. Yeah, you know, they go to church every Sunday. And Ron defends them. Let's go.
They're sitting in warehouses in Rhode Island and in Georgia right now, food that is pre-digested practically because these kids are starving, and it's sitting in warehouses. It's going bad, and they have no way to ship it.
Okay.
Because USAID has been shut down.
All right, Benny.
I'm sorry.
This is what America decided in 2024 in a landslide, and with the popular vote, the whole of the American people decided to vest a single man, Donald Trump, to hunt down waste, fraud, and abuse. Because while maybe there are some type of programs that you might view as just, what I view as just is feeding the American people, educating healthcare and the capacity to serve Americans.
To cut food stamps.
So the reason why, fam, I believe that they're doing all of this is to hurt you guys. I really believe it. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to explain to you why right now. Check this out. Okay. Now, I know that I get questioned a lot in this channel. And I know YouTube suppresses it a lot. I know that. But if there's anything I want you guys to get out of this shit is fucking truth. This is really what's going on. And y'all need to start waking the fuck up and help our people understand. In any way, shape, or form, you need to help them. If they're in line and they don't speak English and you do and speak Spanish, help them. Help our people in any fucking way you can.
Look at this headline. How messed up is this? Apparently, if you are not here legally, but you work for somebody who is wealthy, you're fine. It's just so incredibly hypocritical. Let me tell you what's going on in this article. The people of East Hampton are very wealthy. It's a very exclusive area. And apparently the residents are worried that their nannies, landscapers, maids, everybody who works for them is going to get deported if they're not here legally. So government officials and village leaders literally came together on Tuesday and held a special community meeting so they could reassure these wealthy residents that their employees, the people who work for them, won't be deported because they rely on them so much. And the police said, well, we only assist ICE in criminal matters, and there's no ICE here. They're not going to be coming here. Your people are totally fine. They even went so far to say that if ICE gives them a detainer, they're not going to hold that person. All right? It's amazing how they can pick and choose with this stuff. Just absolutely unfucking believable. Anyways, as always, hit that follow button, drop your thoughts about this one in the comments, and follow me on Substack and other platforms because we don't know what's going to happen with this app.
Go back to Mexico. Go back there. That's where you belong.
This happened in Reno, Nevada. Watch this.
Oh, you're going to help me open the door? You're such a fucking woman. You're a fucking shit. And I will call your fucking supervisor tomorrow. Well, I know. She's getting a picture of it.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's just taking a video.
Well, good. You sucker.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Yeah. Mexican. Go back to Mexico. Go back there. That's where you belong. Right. I'm a U.S. Marine. I belong here. Okay. You don't belong here. All right. Jack. Thank you. Oh, get out of here, huh? Oh, get out of here. Close the door. We're done. I hope I you outside somewhere. I will. All right. Big time. You got it. Okay. Bye.
Donald Trump has a lot of racist cowards feeling very confident because they feel that they could use immigration as an intimidation tactic. But I'll prove to you that these men are nothing but cowards. Look closely at this video. He does all this racist ranting and raving while standing on his tippy toes. If you needed more proof of false bravado on your tippy toes, it's kind of hard to make out his face. Of course, they already have a name for him. Garland, because I haven't been able to verify it, I'm not going to. This racist threatens to kill someone.
Show me your papers.
What's wrong?
I'm gonna call the police.
Okay. Why?
You can show them your papers and your leases.
So this old lady's asking her for her papers from a distance, right? I'm going to let it play for a couple seconds more, but then I want to get to the other part because that's where it gets really intense.
Who are you?
Bill, this house is for sale. Show me.
I live here. What happened?
Oh, you live here?
Yes.
Mahio lives here. They live here. Show me your papers.
So she's like, you live here, whatever. But no, check this out. So he comes out and he says, yeah, these people are getting out of hand. Here's why.
Threats were so psychotic that, of course, they reported to the police. She threatened their life. They reported to the police, and the police went to speak to them, and apparently both of them, her and her husband, had guns on them while they were making these threats. But because they're in Texas, the police said there's nothing they can do about it. Nothing. If they continue to bother you, just let us know. And they followed up with him, but there's nothing they can do, even though they threaten them with a gun to kill him. And they're out of their mind crazy. There's nothing you do. That's just the risk of living in Texas, of living in United States.
There, that's where you belong.
I hate beaners. I hope you all die. Beaners. Go back to Mexico, you beaner.
Yeah, I didn't think so, you stupid Mexican bitch. Deportation?
You're probably not even a citizen.
Wear this and go to a Home Depot in a sanctuary city, and you'll see all the illegals. See a lot of them start to run away.
Are you illegal? I'm illegal? Are you illegal? Okay, what? Yeah, everybody
I
is
know
tracking
her
you.
exact house, and
Nobody
you're
is
going to be
tracking.
regretting it.
Oh, okay, threat, thank you.
Oh, it is a
Thank
threat.
you.
Deportation! God bless America, God bless Trump.
So when
See that's like it's pretty crazy, man, that it's intense like that. And our people have no idea, man, that the same religion that they worship is the same religion that gives these people power. I know you guys think I'm fucking nuts. Like, what are you talking about? Okay, listen to this. You Christians, you Christmas Christians, listen to this. And by the way, there's a reason why I'm keeping my voice down. In case you guys think I'm losing my touch. I ain't losing my touch. I'm just trying to keep my voice down. I'm not in a good spot. Plus, it's late. I'll explain it later. So stop hating. Let's go.
Hitler ascended to the chancellorship. He didn't seize power. It was given to him by a very Christian electorate who declared him in 1933 to be a gift and miracle from God. And I remember quite well, when I was being trained as a minister, we were told never prepare a sermon without consulting the Dictionary of New Testament Theology, edited by Gerhard Kittel, a good German evangelical Bible scholar. Nobody ever told me that Gerhard Kittel was Adolf Hitler's resident theologian that gave him the theological justification for genocide.
Are you guys listening? We need to hear that one more time.
Why didn't we ever know that one of the theologians we consulted most often justified genocide? Boy, that was an eye-opener. Adolf Hitler ascended to the chancellorship. He didn't seize power. It was given to him by a very Christian electorate who declared him in 1933 to be a gift and miracle from God. And I remember quite well, when I was being trained as a minister, we were told never prepare a sermon without consulting the Dictionary of New Testament Theology.
You guys need to get that. You guys need to get that. The Dictionary of New Testament Theology. So every single time that they, you hear a sermon, you guys that came out of Christianity or that are in Christianity still, one foot in, one foot out, you need to look at this. And they say, before you do a sermon, you got to go here. And why? And by the way, who wrote this shit? Who filtered this knowledge? Because think about it. Somebody thought about it and then created it and then implemented it for you to think about it. So if you think like this, or if you listen to any of these pastors or priests, you're listening to a Nazi. Yeah. Hey, I don't care. I hate this channel, bro. You're gonna continue to hear this shit.
Edited by Gerhard Kittel, a good German evangelical Bible scholar. Nobody ever told me that Gerhard Kittel was Adolf Hitler's resident theologian that gave him the theological justification for genocide. Why didn't we ever know that one of the theologians we consulted most often justified genocide? Boy, that was an eye-opener.
See? And you think that's freaking interesting?
Zion.
Think about this. Because I don't lie on this channel.
Zionism and Nazism are two sides of the same coin.
Well, they actually did mint a coin to use in the program, the Havara program, to ship Jews out of Germany. Here's the point. Zionism and Nazism cooperated to get Jews out of Germany because both of them believed that Jews should not be in Germany. The Zionists believed they should be in Palestine for one set of reasons. They cooperated together, and they did. That's a matter of historical fact. You don't actually need to bring the historian from America. You could bring many historians from Israel. This is not a secret. It's only a secret to those now waking up to it. They were cooperating because they had the same idea, that the European Jews should not be in Europe. They should be in Palestine.
Zionism and Nazism are...
You know, that's an interesting thing because, check this out. Let me see if this is a short one.
Europe?
Yeah, here it goes. Check this.
Europeans come to this continent, literally ethnically cleanse the indigenous population out of existence, kill them on a scale that has hardly been equaled, and refer to them as savages. That's an achievement. Who's the savage? The first time I encountered this was in a little town in Massachusetts called Deerfield. It's a reconstruction of what that little town looked like in colonial America. And in front of each house is a plaque that explains something about this house. And then description. On the 18th of October of 1702, the savages attacked. The first time I saw this, the savages, you come in here, destroy everything these people have, and they are the savages. That's an interesting move.
Now, I want you to pay attention to this, okay? I believe that the reason why they want to get rid of Social Security is because it doesn't benefit the white folks anymore. Here, I'm going to show you. Here's how I know. Listen to this real quick, okay? The first thing is that this man says here, and he's in charge of this shit right now. He says this.
The fundamental weakness of Western civilization is empathy. The empathy exploit. They're exploiting a bug in Western civilization, which is the empathy response.
You see? Why should you care? In Western civilization, meaning over here. Okay? Now, check this out. Why'd you keep playing over here?
The Social Security is the...
So here, this guy talks about Social Security. For you guys that have a little bit of a brain cell, right, at least right now, before you're falling asleep, pay attention.
The Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Wow, the richest.
Oh, he calls it a Ponzi scheme. He's not calling it a Ponzi scheme. Check this out. Why do you think he wants to get rid of it? He's going to say it. He's going to, remember, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. He's going to say why. You guys need to understand the history of Social Security and when it occurred. Social Security was not always around. It happened in a certain period and at the benefit of other people, meaning the wealthy, the very wealthy. They were being taxed more and more and more. That was the only way they could fund Social Security. That's why they want to go back, make America great again. You know what I'm saying? but they don't realize that the wealthiest people of the world were being taxed at the higher rates. That's the only way it could have occurred. But hold on. Here's what happens. See, those people in those times, 20s, 30s, and 40s here, were going through World War I, II, right? Vietnam War, all kinds of shit. Now, they call those people baby boomers, right? They were having a lot of babies. Now, that's not occurring right now. So follow me and listen.
It far exceeds the tax revenue. Far. Have you ever looked at the debt clock?
Yes.
Okay. There's our present day debt, but then there's our future obligations. So when you look at the future obligations of Social Security, the actual
future obligations of Social Security. So today we're living. Everybody gets born, or right? They turn 20 and they start contributing to so-called. Well, when they start working, they start contributing to Social Security. Now, keep that in mind, right? Keep that in mind. Listen to what he's saying.
National debt is like double what people think it is.
See, he says it's like double to what people think it is. Now, why would let me go back.
Okay. There's our present day debt, but then there's our future obligation.
Future obligation. Now, why is he saying that it's going to double? He says the future obligation is going to double. Okay?
So when you look at the future obligations of Social Security, the actual national debt is like double what people think it is because of the future obligations.
So he's like, I don't know what you're saying. I know what he's saying. They don't fucking know what he's saying. You see, he's saying it in a racist fucking eugenics way. Because you're going to see what I'm talking about.
So basically, people are living way longer than expected.
Okay? People are living way longer than expected. All right? Remember, but he's talking about future obligations. So if these people are living longer, they worked long enough to put their retirement, so-called Social Security, to their benefit. Based on the way that it works, it seems to work. All right, but let's continue. But that's not what he's talking about.
And there are fewer babies being born. See,
there we go right here. Listen to that part.
So basically, people are living way longer than expected. And there are fewer babies being born. So you have...
See, here he goes. People are living longer, meaning there's more older people, and fewer babies are being born. Which ones are the babies that are being born? Which ones are the fewest of the... Okay, which nation of people are having the least amount of babies? People like him. Now, do you see how he said it in segments? So let's go back.
Yes. Okay. There's our present day debt, but then there's our future obligations.
So there's present day and future obligations. So if future obligations, so like if he said it later that there's less babies being born, so then why would future obligations be more since there's less babies being born? I'm telling you, family, he is speaking in fucking, like, for example, if you have an agenda within you and you don't want to say it, you know what I mean? But you need to say it. It's like you're kind of holding back, but you're saying it, but you're not really saying it. You know what I mean? So what he's talking about is that Social Security, they want to get rid of it because it's going to benefit people like you and I, brown people, because white people are not being born. So listen to this again.
It far exceeds the tax revenue. Far. Have you ever looked at the debt clock?
Yes.
Okay. There's our present day debt, but then there's our future obligations. So when you look at the future obligations of Social Security, the actual national debt is like double what people think it is.
See? So who are the people that are having more babies? Like 2, 4, 5, or 2 to 4. It's us, really, not them. Here's why.
because of the future obligations.
See what I'm saying? So he doesn't want them white folks to be taxed anymore because guess what? It's going to benefit brown people.
So basically, people are living way longer than expected. And there are fewer babies being born. So you have.
He just said that the obligation would double, but he just said that less babies would be born. Which babies? White people. White. There you go, right there. White.
More people who are retired and get that live for a long time and get retirement payments.
So that's what it is. I really believe that that's really what it is. Here's why. Check this out. And this is sad, man. This is gonna go for like, I think. Hold on. Let me close this real quick. This is gonna go for. This is gonna go for a few minutes, family. Hold on.
Pilots, because I think it's too dangerous.
My line in the sand moment was when
Go for a few minutes.
I found out that GSA had awarded a contract to a company to transport unaccompanied minors.
What was that like for you?
It was like someone kicked me in my gut. Once I found out about the contract, that night I got on my computer and I started doing a Google search.
Action obligation 40 million. Total contract value 347 million. That's over $250 million. That's a lot of money to transport unaccompanied children. I mean, this is a big money business.
And that's why we're sitting here today, because as I shared before, what you know, you cannot unknow. My line in the sand moment was when I found out that GSA had awarded a contract to a company to transport unaccompanied minors.
What was that like for you?
It was like someone kicked me in my gut. Once I found out about the contract, that night I got on my computer and I started doing a Google search.
Action obligation 40 million. Total contract value 347 million. That's over $250 million. That's a lot of money to transport unaccompanied children. I mean, this is a big money business.
And that's why we're sitting here today, because as I shared before, what you know, you cannot unknow. My line in the sand moment was when I found out that GSA had awarded a contract to a company to transport unaccompanied minors.
What was that like for you?
It was like someone kicked me in my gut. Once I found out about the contract, that night I got on my computer and I started doing a Google search.
Action obligation 40 million. Total contract value 347 million. That's over $250 million. That's a lot of money to transport unaccompanied children. I mean, this is a big money business.
And that's why we're sitting here today, because as I shared before, what you know, you cannot unknow. My line in the sand moment.
Hey, family, I had to run to the bathroom, so I apologize. I want to hear this. I didn't get to see this video. I saw it once. It was a couple weeks ago, because I worked on these notes a couple weeks ago, and so I want to see it again. All right, let me see. I want to see it now. All right.
It was when I found out that GSA had awarded a contract to a company to transport unaccompanied minors.
What was that like for you?
It was like someone kicked me in my gut. Once I found out about the contract, that night I got on my computer and I started doing a Google search.
Action obligation 40 million. Total contract value 347 million. That's over $250 million. That's a lot of money to transport unaccompanied children. I mean, this is a big money business.
And that's why we're sitting here today, because as I shared before, what you know, you cannot unknow. My line in the sand moment was when I found out that GSA had a...
All right, my bad. Yeah, that went too far. Okay, so I just wanted to show this because this is why they feel the way they feel. This is why. Let me show you this real quick. It's called the White Man's Bible. Yeah. I mean, seriously. White Man's Bible by Ben Clausen. A powerful new religion's creed, structures for the survival, expansion, and investment of nature's finest. That they feel superior, even though they don't realize that they don't really know how to wipe their ass. And that when they first showed up in the Jamestown town of 11, they were eating each other because they were too lazy. Our brethren that were trying to help them, they couldn't help them. They were too lazy. They were digging themselves out of the holes and eating their own fucking shit. So before you guys think you're very great, you need to learn your own history. Anyways, let's get to the... Whoa, let me see this right here. So there's a lot of topics that they talk about. Interesting book. Again, it's called The White Man's Bible by Ben Clausen. Download it. Interesting. We're going to start at page 14. This is why Donald Trump talked about this story the other day when he was up there. See, this is why you should be aware of what the fuck they're talking about. These racist pricks. I think it's time that our brothers and sisters need to realize that white people are racist. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying all of them, but you motherfuckers are. And here's what I don't like about you guys. That you seem so brave, but then when you walk around the street, you don't do the same. Check this out. This is how they see you. Never again through the serpent's eyes. Consider the following situation. A young pioneering mother living in a primitive cabin in the early West with her husband and 3 children. The youngsters are aged 6, 4, and 2 respectively, and another is on the way. The children are all asleep in a small room. Eternal enmity. One morning, to the mother's horror, she finds a rattlesnake with a newly delivered brood under one of the beds of the children. There is not the slightest doubt in the mother's mind as to what she must do. She immediately gets her children out of the area, contemplates getting the biggest club in the woodpile by the fireplace and clubbing to death the rattlesnake and her infant brood. Irreconcilable conflict. Now, obviously, there's a sharp conflict in interest here. Obviously, 2 conflicting parties, namely the mother and her family on the one side and the rattlesnake on the other side, have immediate, dire, opposing points of views. 2 points of views forever irreconcilable. Remember this. 2 points of views are forever irreconcilable. They're not your friends. They want war. And they're willing to delete you for it. This is what they're saying. So see the videos I showed you guys, all these fucking crackety cracks. That's how they feel about you. That whole bullshit about illegal aliens. When you think of illegal aliens, what do you see in your face? You see people like me. You don't see white people. You don't see black people. You don't see Asians. You don't see Arabs. You don't see no other nationality. Close your eyes and have someone tell you illegal alien, and what picture comes to your mind? They are extremely hostile, laden with emotions. They are, in fact, a matter of life and death. The 2 parties cannot survive in the same bedroom. In fact, from the mother's point of view, the rattlesnake is per se an evil threat to herself and her family. Now, I'm not going to read all this because I'm almost done. I got 5 minutes left because I got to go. I just got a message inside. Need to understand this right here. That you guys are the snakes. And they're the simpleton woman. This is the story that Donald Trump was reading in front of everybody. This is white supremacy. He's basically saying it without saying it. He's saying it to them, but you dumbasses don't want to hear it. No, you rather attack your own brethren like me, like Ron Garcia, and come talk shit about bullshit. And yet I'm giving you some fucking proof about who the fuck your enemy is, and you don't want to listen to me. I would say this. I would highly recommend this. If you can download this link here, download it. This is one of the most, how can I say this? Oh, man. If you guys think I'm kidding, here, I'll show you. I'm going to show you exactly what the hell they're talking about.
But
these guys think that they are. See, like, for example, Ron Garcia would probably come over here and be like, yeah, leave them alone. Those guys are the real people. So people like you are weak, man. We don't need people like you around here. Because this is what they truly believe. Let's listen to this and then I'm done.
I don't know if you guys remember this guy, this book that he wrote. President Donald J. Trump, the Son of Man, the Christ. He created a full-blown theology around Donald Trump. Fan, like Elon Musk.
There is absolute no one like you. No one. They hate you. Who doesn't love you? But we love you because we know you are the Christ.
So I want to talk about this theology. I want to write about it. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but it's on my list. Or that he exploits people in.
The other 10 tribes known as Israel. Israel doesn't live in Israel. Jews live in Israel.
The tribes that remained in Israel, he believes, exited Israel. And the Jews that live, but this to the tribes.
Primarily, the United States of America, Jews lived in.
To the tribes that lived in Israel, I hear you asking.
Jews lived in Israel. Israel was scattered all over the world, primarily the United States of America, Great Britain, and the Commonwealth nations.
So the tribes that lived in Israel after the tribes of Judah and Benjamin were captured by
Donald Trump. Israel, not. So who was it that lived at the Gaza Strip? Israel, not Jews. Israel. Now, who is the leader of Israel? Donald Trump.
Because Donald Trump is an Anglo-Saxon in Shane Vaughn's mind. That means that he is an original Jewish person. So I just want to make it clear he really does view Trump as the Messiah.
Donald Trump carries the prophetic seal of the calling of God. He is Joseph. If you are anointed by Yahweh for a specific plan and purpose, you are a Messiah. Yeshua was the Messiah of mankind, but Donald Trump is the Messiah of America.
He believes that Trump is the Messiah. Now, in this next video, he actually put this out forever ago. This is from early November 2021. He explains the Trump theology in pretty deep detail, and he explains that Donald Trump created a new covenant with God. If you remember, Israel was in covenant with God. They were God's unique special. Now,
Israel down. Wow. We are going, he wrote a course, to New Israel. New Israel. New Israel.
He's claiming that George Washington sailed on the Mayflower to America and sang the tune, "We're Coming to New Israel."
And when they came off the ship, they didn't plant an American flag. They planted the Christian flag on the soil. They dedicated. George Washington knelt and prayed, dedicated America where the Twin Towers stood. That's where America came into covenant with Yahweh, with God, was where the Twin Towers stand.
Wow.
I don't like all of this is Fantasyland thinking. Like it came from nowhere. It came from the ether. It was created in 1970, right?
Covenant to God. If you will make us a great nation, deliver us from tyranny, then we will serve you. And he gave the nation to God at that point. Every signer of the Declaration of Independence were descendants of the tribes of Israel. We can trace it. We know it.
No, that's not true in any way. This is what I'm talking about. He believes that the people that lived in Israel, the 10 tribes, came over to America as Anglo-Saxons and formed a new covenant. Now, earlier I mentioned Israel needs to exist so that Jesus can return, right? Jesus is supposed to appear in Israel. He's about to...
Most people think of Israel, when you say the word Israel, they think of Jews. I was a doctor of theology.
No, he wasn't.
I was the youngest ordained evangelist in America at 14 years old.
No, that was Marjo Gortner at 4.
Wow. I've lived for the Lord my whole life.
No, he was an insurance salesman that got put in jail for 4 years for fraud.
It's very true, by the way.
Because he took a bunch of insurance policies out using old people's social security numbers. When they died, he collected the life insurance on it. Went to jail for years and years for that little racket he ran. So,
ever wondered what your home looks like from space?
My bad, Hank.
Enter your address and get a 360-degree satellite view.
Is them fighting against Israel. Wow. When you
like, these people don't even understand what they're listening to. They're just like, wow.
That in my Bible, and I found out that the first mention of the word Jew in the Bible is them fighting against Israel. Wow. When you
like, these people don't even understand what they're listening to.
Waited for her, like, look what I found. Quiet moment. Wow. This is funny.
Listening to, they're just like, wow, you hearing this? He's got this stupid eating grin on his face.
Wow.
God, it's so cringy.
When you come to understand that Israel is not Jews and Jews is not Israel, when you get that, here's what happens. All of a sudden, and I'll do it real fast.
They're running out of time. They've signaled that he needs to stop talking now, but he really wants to get it out so bad. It was the capital of the country of Judea.
Jerusalem. They kept the Sabbath. That's why they're still identifiable. They kept the Sabbath. That kept them identifiable for these thousands of years.
They're actually the Pharisees, like modern day Jews.
Let me skip this because I want to just listen to this fucking dude over here. This is funny. Here it goes.
States of America.
Okay, so that's the theology.
Making their
create this, or to fortify adherent
way to the United States of America.
Okay, so that's the theology. Now, when Donald Trump took power, these people, Shane Vaughn, Helgard Muller, Johnny Enlow, and others, started claiming that Trump was the Messiah. How can that be? Jesus was the Messiah. It gets even deeper than that.
Now, many people have told me that, they're losing faith in Donald Trump because of his stand on the vaccine. Let me correct you. You're not losing faith in Donald Trump because it was not Donald Trump that put Donald Trump in that office. 4 years before Donald Trump was ever known about running for office, Yahweh, the God of heaven, spoke through the mouth of a prophet and said that a man named Donald would be put into the White House.
That's what he's talking about, Kim Clement. No, he didn't, but we'll listen to it.
And that man Donald would be the servant of Yahweh to restore America. And guess what else that God said? That this man would serve 2 terms. So if you're losing faith in Donald Trump, you're really losing faith in the God that put him in office. And that's a danger.
Wow, that's some wicked shit. Do you really believe this?
This is John.
Mate, check this out. Hold on. I thought I put it up. Oh, come on, man.
This is Johnny Enlow, and he is...
I hate to show this guy again, but he had some good points. I don't hate to show any shit. He's got some good shit. So I'm not going to say hate, but I wish I would have found it. Anyway, let's go.
He's a Trump theologist. He believes that Trump is the Son of Man, the Messiah. Not joking. Listen to what he had to say here. This is from early February 2025.
The apostolic clarity that's coming right now is coming from King Donald Trump, but it extends even over the church because he is a fellow believer, and every single one of his values that he lays out there are biblical values. Apostle Trump.
Yeah.
Listen.
Apostle Trump. He is a Trump theologist, believes that he is tantamount to God. Shane Vaughn is another Trump theologist, and I covered the Trump theology in another video.
Gabriel working very closely with Elon.
That is absolutely wild. Now, if Johnny Enlow believes that Trump is the Son of Man,
even if you think you have 100% devotion to God, it's going to cost you. And this is a key time. Once we establish what a key time in history this is a line in the sand. This Trump test, it's been clearer than ever. People I've been on their programs and stuff, and who's being advanced and blessed, and ministries that are advancing and blessing, and who I see an increased anointing, and who are seeing more. They're seeing more favor. They're seeing more revelatory. Are people who didn't back off Trump.
So.
Oh, wow. You know, it's so funny. I actually, give me a second. I actually read a scripture that dealt with that. I think I put it here. Yeah, check this out. Let's go to Sirach 41 real quick. Verse 7. I think it's here. Is this it? I thought I had the scripture. Let me hear it again. Let me see if I can remind myself. All right, let's go.
More favor. They're seeing more revelatory, and ministries that are advancing and blessing, and who I see an increased anointing, and who are seeing more. They're seeing more favor. They're seeing more revelatory.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Check this out. It says here, Sirach 41:7. It says, "The children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake." Then it says, verse 8, "Woe be unto you, ungodly men, which have forsaken the laws of the Most High." It's true. Didn't I say, doesn't it say in Psalm 64, they toss over the laws over their shoulders? They claim to be the children of God. But check this out. For if ye increase, it shall be to your destruction. You think they're keeping the commandments? Nah, they're talking about prosperity right here. Have nothing to do with them really honoring the word of the Most High. We can see it, and it's in our face. Let's go.
And who are seeing more. They're seeing more favor. They're seeing more revelatory. Are people who didn't back off Trump.
So he believes God is blessing people who believe in Donald Trump, like on a theological level. When this video came out, it was about 6 months after inauguration.
Find funny is how they themselves say the opposite of each other. Check this out.
The great and terrible day of the Lord, it says that the Lord will come out from a place called Edom and he will crush Edom. In Jewish understanding, Edom is really talking about the Christianity. Okay? Christianity is called Edom.
Say it again.
Christianity is Edom. Okay?
How's that?
It's a rather lengthy explanation, but Edom name was Esav. Edom name in the scripture is Esav. Esau. If you turn the letter Esav, flip them around, you get the name Yeshua.
What? I don't think you do that. But you know what's so funny? Is this right here about these people too?
You're not.
Stop showing up over here, man. Shit. Stop.
allowed to have a DNA test in Israel. There are Chinese Jews. I've met them. There are Vietnamese Jews. I've met them. They're not native to the land of Palestine. There are African Jews. They're not native to the land of Palestine either. There are Ashkenazi Jews who are entirely European in their DNA. That's why you're not allowed to have a DNA test in Israel, because it will reveal that virtually none of them are Semitic, virtually none of them have any ancestral connection to the land. I was viciously assaulted by a manager in the BBC who had recently converted to Judaism. It's fine. I love all religions. But you can't say I've now converted to Judaism and therefore I have a right to go to the land of Palestine and live in the house of someone whose ancestors have been living in it for thousands of years. Again,
There was music on that. I don't know why it doesn't play it. But let's listen to this. What the hell, man? So, wait. Let's go.
Major military facility that's there to help protect NATO and Europe in case of a foreign attack from, well, Russia, basically. And Canada, well, Canada has the rights to this bunch of oil and natural gas reserves, as well as the maritime routes for them. And Putin wants those demolished. Now, Panama currently has sanctions against Russian vessels traveling through the Panama Canal. So when Donnie is talking about all three of these places, it's on behalf of Vlad. Just like everything that he's done since he was bailed out by Russia in the 80s after he lost all of his daddy's money in bankrupt hotels and casinos in Atlantic City. See, those of us that have been paying attention and that read about history know this shit. And we've seen this coming for a long time. Now, Maga is the brainchild of Vlad. And Donnie is his puppet. And all of you suckers that voted for him have done nothing more than give him more power to Russia and turn this country over to them. The United States is now weaker and more vulnerable because of you. You know, sometimes I wish I was as stupid as all you MAGAs so I could live my life in total ignorant bliss thinking that Daddy Donnie's just going to make everything better for me. Y'all are a bunch of soft, whiny little bitches. Fuck the fascists. Do not comply.
Are low-life scum that screw little girls so the Jews can screw America. That's what's happening in this country. I just said it. That's what's going on in this country. And our FBI is corrupt. The Supreme Court is corrupt. The Justice Department is corrupt. The news media is corrupt. The whole country is corrupt because we've walked away from Almighty God and we've allowed Kabbalah practicing Jews to defile the nation. Put that video out. Go ahead and clip this video and send it out. I dare you. You won't do it because you're scared that the truth may get out to the American people. I'm had it up to here with the corruption in this country. Little children being raped for the benefit of Israel. That's all it's about, Doc. Little American children being raped for the benefit of Israel. American politicians raping little American girls to be videotaped by Israeli Mossad so that Israel can blackmail American politicians. That's the state of America today. God ought to destroy this country for what we've become. Our leaders are low-life,
which has had its government overthrown by the CIA since 1947. Costa Rica in 1948, Guatemala 1954, El Salvador 1979, Nicaragua 1981, Panama 1989, Paraguay 1954, Brazil 1964, Peru 1968, Chile 1973, Uruguay 1973, Argentina 1976, and Venezuela in 2002. Many of these were perceived as ideologically opposed to the United States, were leftist dictatorships or were some combination of the two. Here's every South American country which
was ordained specifically to safeguard the
has had its government overthrown by the CIA since
principles of liberty proclaimed by the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration's phrase, all men are created equal, means that men are equal before the law and before the Creator, regardless of their inequality in human society. The Declaration says that men are endowed with unalienable rights, and that the purpose of government is to secure these rights. The unalienable rights of man enumerated in the Declaration of Independence do not include equality, but they do include liberty, along with life and pursuit of happiness. Equality of all men in the eyes of God and before the law is a condition essential to freedom, but no other kind of equality is possible. Government efforts to achieve material equality will produce crushing tyranny, but will not make people equal. The writers of the Constitution were anxious to safeguard liberty against dictatorship, monarchy they called it, but their chief anxiety was to protect the country against democracy. Edmund Randolph, delegate to the Constitutional Convention from Virginia, said the general object of the convention was to provide a cure for the follies and fury of democracy. Elbridge Gerry and Roger Sherman, delegates from Massachusetts and Connecticut, urged the Constitutional Convention to create a system to eliminate the evils that flow from the excess of democracy. Alexander Hamilton, delegate from New York, said, "We are now forming a Republican government. Real liberty is not found in democracy. If we incline too much to democracy, we shall soon shoot into a monarchy." John Adams, one of the giants of the American Revolutionary period, said, "Democracy will envy all, contend with all, endeavor to pull down all. And when by chance it happens to get the upper hand for a short time, democracy will be revengeful, bloody, and cruel."
The irony in democracy, when it says that it actually destroys you more than anything because of the fact that it opens up doors that you don't want to, that you can't close eventually. Because technically with democracy, you level plane everything. And then powers that may not be, and basically it allows infiltration. I think I understand their republic, but it's still unrighteous. Let's continue.
Say the word. Dan Bongino, the new FBI deputy director, can't even say the word. Listen.
You know Epstein's an intelligence asset for people in the Middle East.
So you mean Israel? It's like he's not allowed to say it or something. But wait, there's more.
What cause is dear to your heart?
Cause is dear to my Israel. Defense of Israel.
So the main cause that's dear to the heart of the second in command of the FBI is not the United States? By the way, if you're new to this is how it works. A guy like Epstein will traffic children, bring them somewhere like on an island, for example, then invite politicians and celebrities and covertly film them having disgusting, inappropriate acts with these poor children so that these politicians and celebrities can be controlled for the rest of time through blackmail. And this is how you gain power over foreign governments. But I think people are starting to see it.
We need America to wake up and prioritize Israel.
Let me get that for you, bro. Let me get that. See, Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 18. It says, "In the house of Jacob shall be fire, and the house of Joseph a flame." That means we're going to burn you with our presence, our knowledge and understanding. And then at the end, if we get the chance, in the house of Esau, you crackety cracks, for stubble, and they shall kindle in them. Meaning that we're going to warm up and enjoying your destruction, deleting, your deletion. Because you need to be deleted. That's really the facts. I mean, isn't that what you're saying about us? Why is it unfair if I say it about you? I mean, you're all over the place. Look, I'll even show you. These are Khazars. to the fullest, family. Converts, fake Jews.
Wait, am I Jewish? I'm Jewish. My name is very Jewish.
Past 10 years, people have assumed in my community that you're Jewish until I informed them otherwise.
Yeah.
Elon is a pretty Jewish name.
It's super Jewish.
Yeah.
Well, I went to Hebrew preschool, Rachel Spiro in South Africa. And then I went to Israel when I was 13, visited Masada. Most of my friends are Jewish, just worked out that way. Aspirationally Jewish. I forget that. Wait, am
I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I'm like right there. They haven't deleted it. That's good. Yeah, that's funny. Anyways, listen, we're almost done, fam. I said I was done earlier, but you know what? I was going through my notes. I'm like, you know what? Let me just finish my shit. You know, a lot of people watching. I don't care. I'm just trying to get back on track, man. You know, it's like this. I'm like, first of all, this whole thing is a marathon. It's not like, you know, a race. So I take my time to get back on the rhythm. This is one of those classes, man. I want to get back on the rhythm. I hope you guys can appreciate it. Anyways, so fuck, I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, let me just play the videos. Let's go.
¿Por qué hablas tanto de
I'm almost done. I'm almost done.
México? Chúpale los huevos a los mexicanos. Tan peligroso que es el mexicano, tan peligroso que es México. Y tú vas chupándole los huevos a los mexicanos. Pues yo le voy a decir una cosa y sé que muchos se van a enojar. Yo hablo de México porque mire que me echó la mano en Estados Unidos han sido los mexicanos. Esos cuando yo les he pedido raite, ni un peso me han pedido los chimados. Ah, no vaya a ser un hondureño, usted un salvadoreño que usted le pida raite. No, papito, de voladita se la canta, de voladita le pone el libro. Esos pisados, cara de capibara. Que tan peligroso que es México. No, el único peligro que usted corre aquí en México es cuando venga a pasear. Que se vaya a morir de una gran harta.
That's what I'm saying. Hold on a second. Let me see what else. Oh, that's right. I had to show this shit to you guys. Hold on.
Ayer comenté algo que vale.
I wanted to. This relates to the fact as to why my family came to these states. It was around 1980. Let's listen in.
Vale la pena recordar. La mayor expulsión de mexicanos a Estados Unidos fue durante el periodo neoliberal. Y particularmente fue durante el periodo de la venta de las empresas públicas. Muchas de las empresas públicas que se vendieron, algunas siguieron funcionando y aumentaron incluso su participación, como Teléfonos de México, que aunque tenemos nuestras diferencias por esa venta, se mantuvo. Pero hubo otras empresas que privatizaron y se desmantelaron.
That was in 1880. In 1980. That's where my dad and my mom decided to bring us over here. They were doing decent, and I guess that's when my dad lost his job. They privatized all kinds of companies because he was a welder and he worked for not a union, but he worked for an organization where it was like a big company, part of the government, and he was let go. So that's what I'm saying. Like the more you know about history, whether it's I don't want to say whether, but the more you study history, you start to see like why things happen even to you. At least I found out for myself. And it gives everybody answers, at least for you, for your sake. Let me see this. What video is this? Let's see if I'm almost done. That's it. Okay, so my family sent me this. I thought it was funny. So I don't know who these people are. I don't know if they're, whatever, but I thought it was funny because again, I'm almost done. literally, now I'm almost done. Okay, so I'm finishing up. Let's go.
Ya tenemos extranjeros de visita.
Largo de aquí, así como ustedes nos corren a nosotros, hijos de su perra madre. Largo de mi país.
¿Está de
Largo
vacaciones
de
usted?
gringos. Largo de gringos. Puro mexicano. Y a partir de hoy, pinche
Ay, ya
gringo,
va, Maraña.
vete a la verga.
No.
Síganlo.
Ay,
Síganlo. A partir de hoy, todos los pinches gringos que vengan a México me van a tener que traer copia del CUR, acta de nacimiento, 2 personas que vivan aquí que se hagan responsables de su desmadre si llegan a ser aquí o en una playa o en un antro o donde sea. Y aparte, un pasaporte americano-mexicano.
Ok, para poder estar aquí en Monterrey,
¿Le
en México.
¿Le hablé a Claudia?
¿A cuál Claudia?
Claudita Chamba.
Claudita, comadrita.
Claudita.
¿Qué se bufó a Trump?
Ella es íntima amiga mía.
The reason I showed you this because you know what, man, you're gonna be surprised at what's going on. I still have family in Guadalajara, and there's a lot going on in Jalisco right now. And I wanted to show you guys. I think I'm gonna do a class on that topic, specifically in Jalisco. They found un rancho y cigar, no me acuerdo muy bien, full of bodies, like dead bones and shit. It's pretty sad shit. But anyways, I wanted to show this to you guys because it's reminding us that how in the world do weapons get down to Mexico? How the fuck are they there? Because guns are not legal in Mexico. You can't go buy a gun at a store. Well, let's find out how.
Pero los narcos gringos no existen. Les presento a Gabriel Seth Rogers. Miren nada más cuánto colágeno, cuánta juventud, cuánto futuro. Es un joven estadounidense y seguramente tendrá una vida bastante próspera. Pues no, es buscado por las autoridades de Wyoming en Estados Unidos por asociación delictuosa y por narcotráfico. Y adivinen qué. Fue arrestado en México, concretamente en Culiacán, Sinaloa, por elementos de la Guardia Nacional, por elementos de la Secretaría de Seguridad Pública y desde luego por las Fuerzas Armadas. Otro narco gringo que cae en territorio mexicano y solamente le digo al señor Trump que el problema lo tienen del lado del río Bravo, pero al norte. Basta con la producción, pero sobre todo también con la distribución de drogas. Por lo pronto, otra estrellita para Omar García Harfuch y el combate al narcotráfico. ¿Será que el presidente Trump vaya a considerar terrorista a este ciudadano estadounidense, este compatriota con nacional paisano suyo? Les presento a Scott Harvey Daniel Lee Thompson. Este es un ciudadano de origen estadounidense que intentó ingresar a territorio mexicano con 3 armas largas, 2 armas cortas, 19 cargadores y 2.095 cartuchos útiles de diferentes calibres, 3.000 miras telescópicas para armas y un jodido telescopio. La detención se llevó a cabo en el puente internacional El Chaparral en Tijuana, Baja California, por los elementos de la Secretaría de la Defensa Nacional y la Guardia Nacional. Así que más que sea otra estrellita para Omar García Harfuch, demostrar que el tráfico de armas proviene directamente de los Estados Unidos, de ese país que se queja de lo que él mismo está ocasionando.
A cualquier extranjero que realice actividades al margen de la ley, se le impondrá la pena más severa posible, así como la medida cautelar de prisión preventiva oficiosa. A cualquier extranjero que realice actividades al margen de la ley.
Caen 2 narcotraficantes estadounidenses en Puerto Vallarta, Jalisco. La narrativa del presidente de los Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, cada vez se está debilitando más al asegurar que solamente los mexicanos son los que aseguran drogas sintéticas y fentanilo que traspasan a los Estados Unidos. Pues no, gracias al Ejército, Marina y Guardia Nacional se logró combatir y detener a 2 objetivos prioritarios del propio gobierno de los Estados Unidos. Han caído Aaron Wilkie Murphy, de 51 años de edad, y Hong Tua Thi, de 49 años. Ambos personajes estaban altamente relacionados con la distribución de fentanilo que llegaba a los Estados Unidos. Y no eran mexicanos como tanto presumen los republicanos. Ambos provenían directamente de los Estados Unidos. El gobierno mexicano ya los está extraditando hacia su país de origen y es otra estrellita bajo el mando de Omar García Harfuch, secretario de Seguridad Pública. Insistimos, si quieren acabar con el problema del narco, que primero acaben con aquellos que distribuyen la droga.
Deal with yourselves first. That's what he's saying. But I think it has a lot to do with jealousy. Anyway, so we got 4 more links and that's it. And the reason why I'm showing you guys this is because I don't think you know this enough. I don't think you do. Listen.
Estudiantes crean el primer autovolador mexicano. Un equipo de 7 jóvenes veracruzanos han desarrollado el primer autovolador en México, diseñado para realizar rescates en zonas de desastre y con la capacidad de levantar hasta 180 kilos. Bajo el nombre de Mantarraya, el proyecto fue presentado el 15 de febrero por estudiantes de Ingeniería Mecatrónica del Centro Universitario Latino Veracruz. Durante 4 meses, estos jóvenes trabajaron en su diseño y construcción, logrando un prototipo funcional. Lo más impresionante es que todas las piezas del vehículo fueron diseñadas y ensambladas por los propios alumnos, quienes contaron con la dirección del ingeniero Víctor Leiva. Además, el auto volador está equipado con 6 motores de alta potencia, cada uno capaz de soportar hasta 60 kilos. Mientras tanto, los estudiantes buscan el apoyo de especialistas en aeronáutica para perfeccionar su invento y ponerlo al servicio de protección civil o bomberos.
Güey, ya valió madre. Sale a la luz porque Elon Musk apoyó a Donald Trump. Y es que este hijo de su madre sabía que México se convertiría en su competencia. México presentó su primer coche 100% mexicano, eléctrico y muy hermoso como el que estás viendo en esta imagen. Un coche muy avanzado que solo costará 90,000 pesos mexicanos. ¿Te imaginas? El gobierno y todo el negocio de estos demonios se viene abajo, porque México está creando su propio coche eléctrico y muchísimo más barato, considerando que un Tesla anda costando entre 2 y 5 millones de pesos. Por eso tanto afán de que Estados Unidos le ponga aranceles a México para evitar que este coche llegue al mercado estadounidense. Saben perfectamente que todo el negocio de Tesla se vendría abajo. ¿Quién iba a decir que México sería el verdugo de este demonio llamado Elon Musk? Ahora sí se está viendo quién tiene la verdadera gallina de los huevos de oro. Créeme, México se convertirá en un país millonario.
Esto lo cambia todo. Claudia deja frío a Trump. México hace increíble anuncio tecnológico.
Bueno, el Centro de Diseño de Semiconductores Kutsari, o Proyecto Kutsari, Centro Nacional de Diseño de Semiconductores. Es la unión de muchos científicos, desarrolladores tecnológicos, de instituciones públicas de educación superior, que van a poner toda su inteligencia, diseño, creatividad para generar nuevos diseños de semiconductores. Estos pues tienen que patentarse. Entonces vamos a acelerar todo el proceso de patentes para que puedan venderse, combinarse con la empresa pública.
México es el campeón mundial y mucha gente no lo puede creer lo que voy a decir, pero es el campeón mundial de software, de desarrollo de software. Tú sabías, y la raza que nos escucha, que la mayor cantidad de contratados por Oracle, por Google, por Microsoft, por las 10 tech del mundo son mexicanos.
Wow.
¿Tú sabías que los mexicanos son los que más le dan a ganar a las empresas de desarrollo de software y los que más producen por encima de los chinos? México tiene que ser una potencia en desarrollo de software. México tiene que dejar de maquilar y de ensamblar y de estampar playeritas y dedicarse a crear fábricas de software por todo el territorio nacional.
Entonces, me gustó el enfoque que estás dando. En vez de estar pensando en qué van a hacer los chinos o los gringos, es pensar qué vamos a hacer nosotros y dejar de estar dependiendo de ellos.
México es el campeón mundial.
Hey fam, thank you very much for being here. My bad for being a little sloppy today. You know, it's been a whole month that I haven't done a live, and you know, I don't know if you guys realize this, man. In order for you to do this stuff, you got to be in rhythm. You got to do it every day. It's like your job. You got to do it every day, every day, every day, every day. It's like a routine, you know. And the moment you take a break, it just things change all of a sudden, like your habits change, all the buttons aren't the same. So, forgive me if I was a little slow today, man. But again, I'm trying to get my rhythm back. I'm not in the best spot right now, to be honest with you. I don't really like where I'm at this moment, but I'm gonna do my best to continue, and I want to, work with what I have. So, anyways, I hope you guys appreciate what I have. Whatever. Could have done better, I believe. I could have done better, but you know what I mean? Like, again, man, it's been a while, dude. Shit. You guys have a good night. Hope you can appreciate some of the music. And I'll be back soon. All right. Shalom, brothers.
Mexicano bandido, todo el barrio prendido, siempre ando bien cuido, siempre poniendo ruido. Mexicanos al grito de guerra, yo defiendo mi tierra, no me dejo de nadie, yo cuido a los míos, mi raza se aferra. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera, yo la levanto por donde quiera, verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera, el barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera, yo la levanto por donde quiera, verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera, el barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Me voy tendido, me voy empinando mi bote, un poco mareado por la bebida y el borlote, me tiene hasta la riata la gente con su mitote, pero me despreocupo, me pelan todo el garrote, me para la chota, ya es por mi apariencia, que hay tantos delitos, que hay tanta demencia, yo no cargo nada, no más mi presencia, pinche puerco joto, atente a las consecuencias, si no topa el boy en breve nos para en la calle, no puede salir uno conmigo porque ya hay detalle, no quiere que conteste, quiere que yo solo calle, quiere mi dinero pero que chinga su madre, a la dica este sistema nos quieren ver abajo, pero tumbar gente quien les digo que es trabajo, puro chingar al indio, váyanse mucho al carajo, loco no me rajo, lo bueno porque se armó la alianza más pesada del país, todo el mundo ya conoce las rimas de estos MCs, pa' ponerme más feliz, unos paisas de hachís, mis paisas en el gabacho bien truchas con la polis, loco en Guanajuato con los ojos bien tumbados, de coto con el quesada, rifando por todos lados, atento si prendo un blunt, en cabina cuando grabo, represento Nuevo León, junto a mi carnal el Davo, cuando voy pa' Jalisco el pasado está olvidado, con el perro de la C bien grifo, pedo y enfiestado, chécate mi banderón, unido como había soñado, bien bajado ese balón, compa lefty bien bajado, puro hip hop mexa, hasta que amanezca, pásenme un mezcal y que no se apague la yesca, ya saben que aquí andamos pilas pa' lo que se ofrezca, si escribo estas rimas es pa' que se enorgullezca. Verde marihuana, blanca cocaína, roja la sangre que escurre de una nueva herida. Yo salí de la ruina, nunca se me olvida. Con disciplina y respeto sigo en siempre la movida. Ando bien high, la vida es un freestyle. Disfruta lo que hay, vivo entre el bien y el mal, carnal. Crazy life todo el día, vienda live. Pinto tu barda con spray, lo que canto es real. Azules y rojas las sirenas que me persiguen. No suben pa' la virgen, salen todos cuando chifle. Mi barrio no lo pisen, que andamos todos grises. Maldito policía, no quiero que me revises. Prende la mota en canala o en hitter. Ando con mi flota y el dealer. Tenemos lo que se te ofrezca, tú nada más pide. Me dijo mi madre que de la envidia me cuide. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera. Yo la levanto por donde quiera. Verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera. El barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera. Yo la levanto por donde quiera. Verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera. El barrio prendido ya quemó afuera.
Ya, ábranse cabrones, llegó el mexicano partiendo sin necesidad de palanca. Todos jugamos en la misma liga, yo soy titular, tú ves desde la banca. Disfruto cada cosa que me pasa, colaboro y mi carrera se levanta. El mismo cabrón que antes no tenía nada se la pasa viajando y dice que canta. Por eso me caga enfermarme de la garganta. Pero aguanta, traigo mata natural y humo de planta. 2, 3 cabrones dando lata y yo haciendo más plata. De esto la vida se trata y pa' que sepas no es barata. MC Davo los desbarata con cada escalón que sube. Yo tuve la suerte de hacerme fama en YouTube. Hay 2, 3 raperos de antaño que me bajé de su nube. Los mandé pa' su casa y de premio hasta les pagué el Uber. Si alguien me tira es porque sabe bien que domino el negocio y quiere de mi parte. No quiero darlas de grande, pero si me tiras la neta me toca humillarte. Soy capitán, llevo el estandarte. Somos muy pocos los que hacemos arte. Este flow si es de Marte, tú dale like y comparte.
México lindo y bandido, diario a Diosito le pido que me cuide a la familia si un día el cora ya no late. Estoy bendecido porque me cuidan los míos. Orgullosamente me exatamos locos de remate. Jaque mate, no hable de volar si viene gateando. La cosa por la frontera se pone violenta, no importa el rango. Toda la raza jalándole duro, si hay algo seguro es la muerte en donde ando. Sudor y la sangre en la frente, los de alzada controlando. Se roban la atención, ya saben quiénes son. Vatos locos con sazón como el de un corridón. No quiera tomarme el pelo si ando todo pelón. Levantando la bandera, viva México cabrón.
Es el perrito de la selva. La bandera con un águila, Simón, mi tierra es esta. Me vale si mi piel o si mi acento les molesta. Acá jalan horas extras, nunca duermen la siesta. Están los que van pa'l jale y los que la viven de fiesta. Otros que en el pintón se tatúan de corazón. 3 colores en el pecho, morirían por su nación. Aunque su puto gobierno los puso en la situación de no terminar la escuela y terminar en la prisión. ¡Viva México, ladrones! ¿Qué hubo, el expresidente? Ya saben que por mí policías chinguen a 20. Y ahí están mis 20 pa' la cagua. Aguas, que es tierra caliente de Chiapas hasta Chihuahua. Wow, 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 yipi-yo, yipi-yucas. Guanas, Montequín, Aguas, Tijuas y San Lucas. San Luis Potoyes, Mataulipas, La Puebluca. Dime si o no, loco, acá tienen lo que buscas.
Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera. Yo la levanto por donde quiera. Verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera. El barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera. Yo la levanto por donde quiera. Verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera. El barrio prendido ya quemó afuera.
Puro hip hop mexa, perros, 2023.
Ey yo, ey yo. Somos la santa carnal. Ey, ey, dale,
los machidones de la plaza.
Oye, DJ Dundeque en los scratches. Desde alzada, mi perro. No saben quién soy o sí. Oye.
Viva México, cabrones.
Yeah, man, a real. This is the cipher tweet. Ahora Babylon real. En esta ocasión traigo a los gangsters más gangsters de la zona. Y vengo con la familia gang. ¿Cómo dice? Yeah, man, a real.
Traigo el mensaje puro y crudo pa'l momento. No palabras vanas que rompen los sentimientos. Lucharé y derribaré los muros del lamento. Pídeme pues te daré los sueños que están muertos. Nunca el demonio dio mensajes de amor, pero tampoco los dio el ángel que nos abandona. Quizás miremos diferente el reloj, pero tu cielo es el infierno donde el amor murió. Political violence, criminals, physical redemption hasta cacaca del baile. Typical styling, musical fraile. Mucha es la promesa en la que se han llevado el aire. Love and love and love. Siente verdad como doy mi corazón.
En las buenas mi terreno lleno, en las malas solar. Un muro que decorar, mis hermanos me sirven de guía, mi estrella polar. Muerdan los hilos.
Lo lejos de lo que piensas, más fácil de lo que crees, el esfuerzo trae recompensas. Vale la experiencia si es intensa, no tires de la cuerda si está tensa. Miraban al ocaso con tristeza, las estrellas devolvían con grandeza su mirar. Nos vimos floreciendo en la maleza, la belleza de las piezas y comienzan a encajar.
El de reventar el beat, reggae music and the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí. What time is it? El de reventar el beat, reggae music and the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí.
51, 52, con un micro de bambú, más vueltas que Passepartout. Me siento en la old school. It's magnetic kung fu, it's a reggae magnatur. Por las almas sonrientes que acompañan a Zazú. En bambalinas y balú, son rimas de menú, no salidas de velour, pero calidad y del sur. Homie, always lonely, but I feeling like a gangsta. 52, 53, a mí sí me ves venir, por eso me llaman King, ese fue mi devenir. De marchar o seguir, nunca tuve que elegir, la music me eligió a mí, no tengo nada más que decir. Saifa, Puniga, Loba, Grimble, Fire, Killerman, Smoker, Chusta, Feel Light, Rasta, Child Metal, Kimanes, Original a Reggae, Saifa again.
Interna en la villa del pingüino, de los Kalin en la antena y los que se encuentran dormidos zarandean tus emociones cual barril de vino, cosas feas quizás en tus ideas, pero aquí no, yo no atino, disparo sin mirar a todo aquel vampiro que el diente quiera hallarme, bro. Si lo digo, no es para pensar, sino para aclarar lo que de siempre estás pensando. Acaba el tan magnífico, imposible de torcer metal, so start my friend, yo. Reggae warriors again, making connection after connection, my new world, creating the freedom from them, me more. Any boy represent this game.
What time is it? El de reventar el beat, jungle in the street, reggae music and the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí. What time is it? El de reventar el beat, jungle in the street, reggae music and the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí.
Falta presentación si existe nivel. Sobreviviendo en Babilonia escribí al papel mis problemas cuando al final pude entender que para ser feliz solo tienes que querer. Y solamente hay una vida y es para vivir. Busca siempre una alternativa para seguir. No dejes nunca que te digan que no es así. Y prende un poco de sativa para estar chill. Ey, superando ansiedades con el humo de cancha. Manchas de un pasado trágico en la cancha. Seguimos siendo fuertes, su mierda no me engancha. Mientras otros esperando a que lleguen en lancha. No matter where you come, no matter where you come from. Solo importa que prestes atención a este sound. Desde the original, Killer Man al mando. Oh, na, na, na.
Mira, soy un warrior, sonido legendario. Disfruto cada segundo cuando me subo al escenario. Tengo fuego en los labios, sigo cual mercenario. Pasos de gigante, ahora revolucionario. Siento que es necesario, suena el reggae en los barrios, para que calme el mensaje y para salvar a los más sabios. Entre mi imaginario, que mocheques bancarios. Si vienes con la mala vibra, mejor bro, cambia tu itinerario. Ya, 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 ya. Cuando ruge el león suena la música real. Venimos con el ya, 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 ya. Sonido de guión es el sonido original. Ya, 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 ya. Reggae de corazón es el que se hace en unidad. Ya, 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 ya.
What time is it? Es de reventar el beat, jungle in the street, reggae music and the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí. What time is it? Es de reventar el beat, jungle in the street, reggae music and the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí.
Yeah.
Viven huyendo de la envidia como los niños en Siria de la bomba que le manda el Pentágono. Y todo el día, mamá mía, keeping it mood, that's a real love, man, I never fear, never, no. La travesía de la vida más que misericordiosa y nuestra prosa siempre vaya a favor, no. Tú podrás por mí traicionar a tu familia, matar tu brazo en Grecia, vos sabías, pero yo no. Familia, familia, es el que está a la mínimo. Familia, familia, comparte almas cristalinas. Familia, familia, Rastachayan familia. Familia, familia, Magna Boy su familia, ya no maniga.
خواتي شوف من حالي وشو من حالي هاللي بالك ربي كبير وربي عالي واللي جاي يديني اليوم وباقي سالي ربي يغفر لي ولا دراري خواتي شوف من حالي وشو من حالي هاللي بالك ربي كبير وربي عالي واللي جاي يديني اليوم وباقي سالي ربي يغفر لي ولا دراري un sueño donde no había amor se perdía el color de una flor se marchaba lentamente con el sol en el horizonte hacer algo para calmar mi dolor. Ya por eso que le ponga flow. Viviendo alto siempre. Burro cubimba. Y es que todo por la familia. Burro cubimba. Y es por eso vengo a bendecir. Burro cubimba. Y es que todo por la familia. Burro cubimba. Y es por eso vengo a bendecir.
Familia, familia, es el que está a la mínimo. Familia, familia, comparte almas cristalinas. Familia, familia, Rastachayan familia. Familia, familia, Magna Boy su familia.
Escalón, subiendo a nuevo escalón. Metallic in the salon, esquivo like Chile Stallone. Esos stage van del palo, pero bitch no rascan balón. Aunque me enrollo nada cáñamo, nunca me paro. Aunque van tras de mí, no se pueden medir. Buscan el elixir, está metalizado. Y es que yo soy así, no van a descubrir sexy flow y skill con este descaro. Si familia necesita de ti, fíjalo. Por un connection Antarctic Field, dígalo. A mí nadie feria de París, día yo. Los magnetes han llegado, están aquí, víalo. Para soportar el dolor como no imaginas. Es la vida en ámbar. Aunque creas que no puedes tú solo con la movida. Yo llevaré tus bambas. Familia, familia. Fighting the hate and the media. Familia, familia. It's original, man. Familia, familia. Fighting the hate and the media. Familia, familia. Yo soy un rocket, ellos abrilia. Con los míos siempre se lo baila. Menea melena, remueve la vaina. Aunque agarre fuerte el fruto para que no se caiga. Son los Magna de post final. Con los míos siempre se lo baila. Menea melena, remueve la vaina. Aunque agarre fuerte el fruto para que no se caiga. Son los Magna de voz final.
Disparo a millas sin mirar y sin mirar sin asimilar que es la puta herida de tu vida hurgo. Los manas de la chatarrilla hacen pa' pillar piltrafillas. Del zono nos pilla y se va con la furgo. Te hará falta una pedicura y una cura si se apura. Quizás llega la locura de mi turbo. Dale vueltas a las partículas, deja ya la mandíbula quieta que sola llega a Luxemburgo.
Niño, prepara la compota que la pera pata.
Pero vinimos a mejorarla.
Pa' hablar por mi familia y tengo autoridad.
Saben que no puedo cagarla.
Y poner ritmo y los manos les toca cuatro patas. Quiere de esa vaina va a probarla. Todo aquel en el party donde se gana. What the fuck, what the girl, what an alma. Viven muriendo de la envidia como los niños en Siria de la bomba que le manda el Pentágono. Y todo el día, mamá mía, keeping it mood, that's a real love, man, I never fear, never, no. La travesía de la vida más que misericordiosa y nuestra prosa siempre vaya a favor, no. Tú podrás por mí traicionar a tu familia, matar tu brazo en Grecia, vos sabías, pero yo no. Familia, familia, es el que está a la mínimo. Familia, familia, comparte almas cristalinas. Familia, familia, Rastachayan familia. Familia, familia, Magna Boy su familia, ya no maniga.
Bombo cry, sing it, cross the line on them. Warrior, vengo con los míos, Magna Gate, while I fire them. Bombo cry, sing it, cross the line on them. Warrior, vengo con los manas y saqué, while I fire them. I could stop, shut up on the microphone ballad, and the smoke the marijuana, psycho Buddha bombo clad. Bang in the street, fire burn. money fill you with. Rastaman over the Illuminati play the kill. Stop, shut up on the microphone, ballad. And the smoke the marijuana, psycho Buddha, bombo clan. Bang, bang in the street, fire burning fill you with. Key cray, is a king, Magnus thing. Nobody no kill them. In a crazy style. Chale no fire them. It's a Rasta ganja. Nobody no kill them. It's a crispy style. Tally the fire cream. It's a Rasta ganja. Familiar, Rasta chai is familiar. Key cray is familiar. Familiar, pure nego is familiar. Familia, Zico, Key Magneto, familia. Familia, es el que está a la mínima. Familia, compactar más cristaleras. Familia, Rasta y Zion, familia. Magna boy que te aplasta, nego.
Ical, hijo, abre los ojos. Tu cuerpo se queda con nosotros, pero tu espíritu debe seguir. Busca la luz. Aléjate de las sombras. Deja que nuestro dolor sea tu fuerza. Desde aquí iluminamos tu camino. Lucha como nosotros ante esta pena tan grande. Yo soy tú eres yo. La muerte que hoy nos separa, mañana volverá a unirnos. Eres libre, hijo.